In Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Well, who knows if tonight's going to be fun or not. I don't know if anybody's really excited for tonight, but we got to get through it. And if the Sixers win tonight, the series continues. If they lose, my God, does that open up a huge door of questions. Eagles draft, we still react to it. A weird spin on the media-driven selections by the Eagles. It's Kincade Salciunas. We got a lot to talk about today. 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
If Howie Roseman covets a guy, you go get your guy. I'm not going to lose sleep over it.
There's some in the fan base that are very much of the belief that clock is ticking. I couldn't look at it more opposite. I think this team has a window.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Tuesday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salciunas alongside my man John Kincade. Johnny, good morning.
You said excited for tonight?
I was wondering, are there anybody that's excited for tonight? I don't know if everybody is. Anybody is.
I really feel sort of anxious.
Well, yeah, because if they lose, oh my God, the conversations that we have to have. If they win, it just kind of extends the series for a longer period of time, and it could go to 7 or it could lose in 6, and then we're just miserable. And those same questions are asked. It doesn't matter when this series is lost. If
Is
they
it
lose
Is it the same questions?
I believe so. I think we'll find out tonight maybe the inner workings of certain players. And I say inner workings, I mean here, the heart, right? Like I think we find out a little bit tonight. But I want to start off by asking the fans a question, and not necessarily about the Sixers themselves. I want to start off by asking you, the Sixers fan, a question. Are you going to get sucked in tonight? Obviously, majority of Philadelphia fans, sports fans, I'm not saying Sixers fans, Philadelphians will be watching the Sixers game tonight, right? The Phillies don't play till when, like 10 o'clock tonight?
9:30, I think.
All right, they're in Anaheim. They're taking on the Angels. So it's not like there's going to be another Philadelphia sporting event going on. So I believe the majority of you will be watching the Sixers game tonight. I am not shocked or will not be shocked if there is a 10%, 20% Philadelphia community that doesn't even want to watch tonight because they don't want to go through the pain or they don't have faith in this team.
Well, they're not fans then. You're not a fan of the Sixers if you don't watch Game 5 tonight. You're not a fan. You don't call yourself a fan. Call yourself somebody who likes Philly sports but turns it on when you want to.
Okay, so maybe a fan
better be watching.
Maybe a casual Sixers fan might not watch tonight, but I will still call them a Sixers fan. They probably have Sixers gear in their house. They probably have the flag from 2001 on their car. Look, this team has provided you nothing but pain.
It has.
Not just this season. Like, over the decade, right? This team has provided nothing but pain. There hasn't been much to celebrate. There's been individual performances to celebrate. There's been expectations to celebrate. There has been close series that makes you feel good about things moving forward, I guess, to celebrate. But there hasn't been a championship. There hasn't been the third-round appearance. And mainly every single series loss has come with something that has pissed you off, whether it's been effort, whether it's been injury, whether it's been drama surrounding specific players, the drama that surrounded Ben Simmons after the Hawks series, the drama that surrounded James Harden after last year's series against the Boston Celtics. There has not been much to celebrate. So what makes tonight any different for a lot of people?
Did 14 seasons, it's just as a comparison thing. Mm-hmm. Like, did 14 seasons for the Phillies turn people off? There were 14 seasons of the majority being complete crap between the 93 Phillies that are so beloved and then when we got started in 2007.
Of course it
with
turned
that
people
Rockies
off.
years. But did it make people stop watching?
Yes.
Really? Like, stop watching as a fan?
Yeah, well, regular season, it's different.
Like, I mean, that's why I say tonight, if you're not watching tonight, you're turning. The Sixers have given me enough that they deserve my respect to watch. You know what I mean? Watching, but there are people who will think like you said.
You know what's been on my mind? That text from my buddy Joey. Now, he was attending these games.
Correct.
He was at
and he buys tickets.
Yes, he was at the the game against the Celtics where they thought it was a 3, but it was a 2-pointer. He was at Game 7 against the Hawks. He was at Game 6 against the Celtics. Just because some people weren't at those games, they watched them. And after every single year where it's pain, like the way the Sixers lose is painful, right? Like the Pelicans got swept yesterday. Who really cares about the Pelicans getting swept?
And they got to a first-round series, and people are probably saying, hey, building block,
right,
step forward.
Whereas the Sixers, it's been painful. There has not been a playoff series where you went, oh, man, that wasn't painful. I'm proud of their effort, right? Even the Raptors series, that was the closest one for them to actually move on. Gastroenteritis earlier in the series with Joel Embiid at the poops, right? Kawhi Leonard hits a quadruple doink. Where else do we see a shot like that? Oh, I don't know. Earlier in this series when Jalen Brunson hits the three that leads to the Knicks getting the win in the final seconds of Game 2. Every single series has been painful. Now, if somebody's listening right now and goes, oh, does that mean Andrew's not watching? No, I'm in tonight.
Of course you are.
I love the Sixers to death. They can do no wrong to me. It's an abusive relationship, right? It's horrible, and I'm watching every single night. It's not just because of my job. I'm watching every single night because I love this basketball team. But I know I am built different than a lot of other people. I would not be surprised if there are people that go, all right, maybe I'll put it on, but I'm not locked in. I'm scrolling on Twitter. I'm scrolling on Instagram. Maybe I have something else on. I wouldn't be surprised if some people relegated the Sixers game tonight to the laptop and watched the show with their spouse on the main TV.
Okay, that's terrible. At what point are you a person? At what point could they ever get you to do that?
They're close.
Get you to be that guy. I don't believe it. Like, I don't believe they could get you there. I believe that they could get – they can't even get me there. And I am not as Sixers dyed in the wool as you are.
Right.
But they couldn't get me there. Game 5 of a playoff series, I realize I'm going to have 5 months without the Sixers. I mean, I am all in, and
But John,
whether you say bought in is the question.
But listen to yourself.
Yes.
You're saying, I'm going to have 5 months without the Sixers. You're basically watching tonight knowing that it could be the last time you watch them for 5 months. That's the reason why you're watching.
Oh, no, it is.
Well,
but
that's horrible.
That's
like a horrible thing to do.
It is. But there's that the frustration is there. But I think the point that you made that was really telling is that no matter when this series ends, Game 5, Game 6, Game 7, and if they win, I mean, it would be an incredible comeback, an incredible story. But if whatever game the series ends, it probably doesn't change the tenor of the fan base, the storylines of the summer, and the anger people are going to feel. I think it should. If this team balls out tonight and wins a game in Madison Square Garden, they may show me that they've got something that right now I'm doubting they've got in them.
Until they disappear in the final 5 minutes of Game 6, which is what we watched last year.
But if they come back, but what if they come back in Game 6 and win? I'm open to the possibility. So that means I guess I'm buying in. I'm open to the possibility that this team could show me that we can finally play to our potential.
Well, because they did that in Game 3.
Against a Knicks team. They just are so inconsistent. And more importantly, I hear people reciting off like, you can't get on Embiid. You look at the stat line. I'm like, okay, stat lines include analysis.
Right.
Breakdown of how do you disappear in fourth quarters? How are you disappearing? Well, he's hurt, and he's disappearing, so that's why he's disappearing. There's always an answer. I am getting it to your question. I'm getting sucked in at least to think I believe the Sixers were the better team going into the series, that they could still show me something tonight, go up there, win that game, and then maybe make me a believer they could come back.
You know I'm in, but I think
I know you're in.
I think I'm growing up because you have tried to tell me, you've tried to open my eyes to see the, I don't want to say the light, maybe the dark side of the Sixers fan that's always doom and gloom because of what this team has not done for us over the last decade.
Sure.
I can see a lot of Sixers fans tonight, or whether you want to use the term casual or not, I can see a lot of people tonight either not watching the game, period, or, as I mentioned, relegating it to the second screen, right? Maybe the kids are still awake and they want to watch Blippi. And you go, you know what?
I'm out. I don't know. Blippi?
I'm going to watch the game on my phone.
Is that Bluey's cousin?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
All I know is I don't blame anybody who has felt this pain over the last decade and have felt the pain in this series except for Game 3.
You don't blame them for what? If they do that?
For not being fully in tonight. I can't blame anybody. And this is coming from somebody that gets angry when somebody says, I'm out or I'm done.
I'm shocked at you.
I don't believe the Sixers fan that doesn't watch tonight is no longer a Sixers fan ever again. They're not jumping ship. They're not, putting on the Lakers cap, even though that's a bad example because they lost yesterday. But, they're not putting on the Thunder cap, right? No, I just can't blame anybody that goes, I'm going to watch the same freaking result that I've been watching for years.
So you're telling me, though, that if they won Game 5, what is that fan doing Thursday night?
They might be watching.
Oh, so they're back on.
Yes.
They're back in on Thursday. I absolutely can blame that. That's a bad fan. That's a bad fan.
Okay, then you got to be blaming me because I'm out on tonight, dude.
You're watching.
I'm watching, but I'm not
He's
emotionally
not getting
invested.
sucked in.
No.
Well, you're not emotionally invested
Not
in
at
tonight.
all.
So the Sixers are up by 15 in the second quarter.
Yeah.
You're not going to be
You know why, John?
pounding your fist.
John, you know why? They were up 21 against the Hawks.
Oh, I know.
They were up 18 against the Hawks.
I don't believe you.
They were up double digits against the Celtics last year in Game 6.
I don't believe him.
What are
They
they
were up-
going
they
to
were
show
up
me
double
tonight?
digits.
If they're up 15 in the second quarter, if they're up 20 in the fourth, there in any way that Connor Thomas is not going to
John,
be.
they were up 10 in game.
I know all the
in
history.
This, no. This series.
I understand. It's not going to change. He's going to be emotionally invested in the fourth quarter going,
I'm not.
we got
John.
another game.
John, I was emotionally invested in the final 5 minutes and saw them not score a field goal. I've seen this team kill me every way they can kill me. I'm done.
So you're done.
All right? You know the only way they can win me back? Win this series. You win this series. You get to a Game 7 against the Knicks, I'll be back in.
Okay, wait a minute. You said win the series. Now you just moved it back one.
Well, because if you get to a game where you can win the series, you have to be emotionally invested in that game.
And,
Well,
and look,
I gotta-
Connor's rocking his Sixers gear today. It's
I'm
not
gonna-
like he's
I'm
wearing
gonna
a Thunder hat or anything
I still
like that.
think I think that's terrible fandom. I really do.
Dude,
I
I'm
think
just
that's
being-
terrible team play by the Sixers
I
so
agree
far.
with you on that. It is.
So why
and
can
you know
I not
what?
give them back what they give me?
Sometimes where I'm a fan of a team, that's what I get. That's being a fan. Sometimes when I'm a fan of a team, I get a crappy team that I got to root
Dude,
for.
this is all the time. It's not
all the time.
sometimes. It's all the time. It's my entire life, John. I'm tired of it.
And
I
John,
got it.
you have pointed out the abusive relationship.
It is an
thing.
abusive relationship.
So Connor gets emotionally invested in tonight's game for what reason?
Yeah, but
what,
I can't-
what if they lose again?
who?
I
For
don't.
what?
I will tell you. I do not respect fandom. That is, I'm in, I'm out. I'm in, I'm out. I'm back on. No, I'm out. I don't respect
But
it.
he's watching.
It's just different.
He's watching, and that look. If you're completely not watching, fine. You
That's
want to
different.
rip, you want to rip that
or,
fan.
Or if you're watching, as you said, like your wife wants to watch, I don't know, some show from the
Good
Dark Ages,
Housekeeping.
whatever, and you're watching that
It's a
with her,
magazine.
and you've got it up on your iPad. I don't respect fandom like that. That's just me. I do not. I've been dealt. I have dealt with a lot more crap than the two of you have as a Philly fan.
I know you have.
And I would say to you is that it never turns me to the point where I go, okay, I'm just done.
But you know what,
I
John?
can't do it.
You had a glory days with the Sixers.
Oh,
Our glory days was winning one game in a championship series against
got
the
you.
Lakers. Like that's our glory days.
Yeah, but if you think what happened in late high school for me, if you think that's carrying me today,
I was
it's
seven.
not.
I was 7 in 2001.
No, but it's not carrying me today.
I cried because I thought the Sixers had a chance because I was 7 years old, John. All right?
Sometimes,
that's how long it's
you
been.
know, and I'm saying this with the utmost respect. Sometimes in regards to the Sixers, you are 7-year-old Andrew here.
Yes.
Like
because I freaking love them, man.
But the thing is, though, are you 7-year-old Andrew with the Eagles? I don't see it.
No, I am. I'm a 7-year-old with pretty much every single
Really?
team.
With the Eagles, though? I don't see it the same way. Maybe because you've had more success.
Well, don't forget, 7-year-old Andrew was growing up in a house where my dad yelled at every single player because that's what the Eagles fan did. That was born in the 60s.
I
all
like
right?
the fact that your father
that was my
did
dad,
that.
all right? I learned a lot of words early on
I like
watching
that.
the Eagles football, okay? All right, so I want to ask you guys, hey, I'll ask the question straight up. A, are you watching tonight? Straight
Really?
up.
I hope
Are
they're
you-
listening on the Fanatic.
Are you watching tonight? Straight up, yes or no? And if you are, how emotionally invested are you in the game? I'm telling you right now, if the Sixers lose tonight, I will probably throw something. I will probably curse out loud. I will probably accidentally wake up my child because I am emotionally invested, even though it is an abusive relationship. But I think there are a lot more people like Connor than there are you and me, where they go, well, if they lose tonight, they lose. I mean, this is what I've been dealing with my entire life. I would not be surprised if there are more people like Connor than you and I, John.
Connor is the danger spot, though. And the Sixers organization needs to look at that. The 20-something fan
Yeah.
who is reaching the point that Bob Cooney always warns about.
Apathy.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
It's the worst. The apathy is the worst position to get to in a fan base. And that to me is a scary proposition If I'm in the Sixers front office and I hear the 20-somethings starting to do, I'm just out. To me, that would scare me as a franchise.
I mean, you look at the potential off-season availability of certain players.
Oh, it's terrible. It's
There's
terrible.
nobody available except for an old Paul George and maybe one other player that we'll talk about.
Oh, no.
What do you mean, oh, no?
Oh, here we go.
All right, we'll talk about it because I think
It's two players.
You are a lunatic.
I am.
You are a lunatic if you say no. All right. So that's question number one. First off, actually, question one is, are you watching? Question two is, are you going to get emotionally invested in tonight? Like, is tonight a sit down on your couch, no distractions, watch the game, which is what you and I will be doing. I know you'll be in the Kincade.
No, I'm actually going to go out to the back deck and watch it on the new portable TV.
But you're watching the game.
Yes.
You're locked in, right?
Yes.
Or are you kind of like Connor, where, you'll watch the game, but, like, if your phone rings, you'll pick up the phone, or, if you have to go to the bathroom, you're not going to wait for a commercial. Because a 10-point lead, you say, oh, what if they're up 10 in the second quarter? They just were. In Game 4, they were up 10, and B goes to the bench. The lead goes away because they miss 11 straight field goals. And that's a typical Sixers performance.
I just don't want to see Connor doing if they're up in the third quarter, fourth quarter, doing the chesty tonight.
Well, here's what I'll do, okay? You got to understand, too. This doesn't absolve moments. If Joel Embiid windmill dunks on somebody's head.
You'll go nuts, yeah.
So you will be emotionally invested then?
No, that's not emotional investment. That's something cool just happened.
Yeah.
I'll do that if Ja Morant does it. I'll do that if Ant Edwards does it. I'll do that if LeBron does it.
You're a sportsman.
We'll hear about LeBron later.
You will hear about LeBron later. I don't know why you're I can't wait. I cannot wait. 7 o'clock is going to be a lot of fun because I think you are freaking crazy, John.
But anyway.
All right, anyways. Also, we're still reacting to the NFL draft because the national media is still reacting to the NFL draft, John. And
yes, it is. Is it media or is it?
It's yelling and screaming shows.
Yes.
I saw a tweet of yours in response to a video.
Yes.
It was a clip from Nick Wright.
Yes,
who
Nick
does, I don't know which show he
does. Whatever it is, I don't know.
On FS1.
FS1.
So take a listen to his, I guess, evaluation or analysis, whatever you want to call it.
There's no analysis on a Nick Wright show. There's no analysis unless someone's written it for him.
Take a listen to what Nick Wright has to say about Howie Roseman's drafting strategy.
Their GM, Howie Roseman, and maybe this is smart, his draft mimics the consensus media big boards more than any other GM, which is why every year people are like, Howie did it again, because he's doing what the media big boards would have done. He even said in his press conference after the Jalix Hunt pick that I almost texted Daniel Jeremiah asking him to take him off his best available list because I didn't want someone else to draft him. I was like, Howie, I'm not sure if other GMs are really scouring Daniel Jeremiah, because here's what we don't do as much. Because I think he's a sharp GM, and I think trading back is smart, and I think getting extra draft picks are smart. But a lot of the picks that we have talked about, wow, this guy was the 9th player on everyone's board, and he went 30th. Those didn't work out. It's like Keely Ringo, Nakobe Dean. He got Nolan Smith at 30. Howie did it again. Anybody heard from him? Jordan Davis, they got him at 12. He's been okay. And so I don't know that he's as great as we all think the day after the draft when it comes to picking the players.
Okay, let me just give you
Go
first.
ahead.
More than any other GM, he states that Howie's picks mimic the big boards more than any other GM. A friend of mine from our lads and one of my good friends from ESPN Radio and Stats and Information said to me, there's no stat that backs that up. There's no stat that they can even ESPN Stats and Information can't find a stat that backs up what he says. So, in other words, no research, just spout something off and people will take it as real. Know the players' names, by the way. If you're going to start to chat another team's draft, actually know the players' names. That's from reading the script that probably a producer handed you, and you don't know the player's name. But also, too, Daniel Jeremiah worked for the Eagles.
Yes, he did.
That's another thing that Nick Wright obviously has no idea of. And they had NFL Network on the giant screens in the room, like every draft board has every draft room, so he could see what was on the screen. He wasn't scouring the internet for what Daniel Jeremiah was doing. But the idea, Ringo and Smith haven't worked out.
It was year one.
Seriously. It's so lazy It's so lazy, and this is much like the FS1 formula of, if you remember, we know the real story with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. We know the real story of what went on in that Eagles locker room. And A.J. Brown just got his big contract extension.
Yeah, exactly. He'll be here for a while with Jalen Hurts.
So that giant story that everybody had, we know the real story. We just can't tell you.
All right.
This is a formula.
So I have a question about Howie Roseman coming your way next. And it's not anywhere close to the agreement of what Nick Wright had to say. But I have a pretty big question about Howie Roseman. And I don't think anybody could say no. I really don't think anybody could say no. So we'll talk about that coming your way next. Also, more to the story on how the Eagles got Quinyon Mitchell at 22. Howie Roseman was on with Rich Eisen yesterday, an actual interview, not just Nick Wright spouting out nonsense. How did the draft board work out for the Eagles? You'll hear from the GM coming your way next. But a big, big question about Howie Roseman that I don't think you can say no about. It's Kincade and Salciunas right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
of Game 5, Sixers, Knicks. And I asked the question. Question 1, are you watching? Yes or no? Question 2, if you are, how invested emotionally with your, not just emotionally, even with your time? Are you like eyes locked in on the screen for 4 quarters, or if you to go to the bathroom and it's not a commercial, you're going to go to the bathroom?
Do you pause?
I wait till commercial.
See, I will pause and come back.
No, I will
and
wait
then
to
fast
commercial.
forward through the commercial.
As if I'm at the game, because I can't pause at a game.
Well, I can pause because I'm not going to be on my phone watching like
on.
people screwing things up for me.
Okay.
I'll pick it up only at like halftime or sometime when I know I'm not going to have something spoiled for me.
Okay, I got you. So I want to know, how emotionally invested are you going to get sucked into tonight's Sixers game? And I can't blame anyone who's feeling like Connor today, where they're like, I'm watching, but I'm not going to get excited if they're up.
Not emotionally invested is what Connor.
And if they're losing, you'll probably be more angry than apathetic, but apathy might settle in. And that's a scary thing. Now, you said something during the break, Connor, you weren't even in here, about the DNA of a Sixers fan versus an Eagles fan. And you think the Eagles fan DNA is stronger than the Sixers fan?
Not even close. Like, I don't even think it's – I think the Sixers fan DNA is so weak in this city compared to Philly fan – I mean, Eagles fan DNA.
Incorrect.
Tell me why.
Because it's a little bit of a different situation, number one, because the Sixers, this has been going on, 6 straight seasons of this. Of the same collapses, disappointments, injuries to the big man, disappearing acts to Tobias Harris, right?
Gotcha.
Like, it's the same thing every single year with the Sixers.
Same storyline, just different.
That you're just beat up over it. You're exhausted. But, John, I remember doing the show before the first round of the playoffs against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it was the fakest enthusiasm that I've ever sensed from an Eagles team. And I was in your neck of the woods for that watch party at Barnaby's in Westchester.
We had the snow that night.
And, dude, at halftime, people were leaving when it was a 1-score game, and it had nothing to do with trying to beat the snowstorm. People just sensed that this team was dead, and they were like, why am I still here? So it depends on the situation. But, man, when you're beat over the head like the Eagles fans were this year, right?
They were.
They were 10-1 and just beat over the head over and over and over again. And then you finally realize that it's done, even though the final buzzer didn't sound yet, that people checked out of a playoff game, dude, and playoff day.
I was never less enthused for a Eagles playoff game in my history than this one. But it's not about the emotional investment is completely there. Completely there as an Eagles fan. I could never imagine.
There's emotional investment with the Sixers every single year.
I could never imagine turning on. I could never imagine an Eagles playoff game and going, yeah, I'm not watching. I'm not emotionally invested tonight. I was emotionally invested, and I was angry last year. I was angry going into that Tampa game, saying, where is it going to be? And I absolutely convinced myself it was going to be 17th. I think I picked 17-13 Eagles. I thought they'd squeak out an ugly win.
And then the offense didn't show life.
And it was terrible.
The same story that you had seen for months.
Absolutely.
Right? 2 months. And if the Sixers lose tonight, it's the same story that you have seen for 6 years.
Correct.
So I think people are emotionally invested, or I think there is a strong DNA. The fact that people are still watching every single year when we have been beat over the head by Ben Simmons, James Harden, Joel Embiid, fourth quarters, injuries, quadruple doinks.
And probably 25% of the people will be watching compared to watch the Eagles in Tampa Bay. Probably around 25%. If we just go by who's watching on their TV.
Could be accurate.
It'll probably be around 4 times as many people were watching that Eagles game.
But I think
I
think that's also just natural.
Well, I think it is, but it's this city. I think it is even today on April 30th to get Eagles gear on.
Right.
I think there's a
reason why.
There's more.
They're the only team that doesn't hurt me right
There's
now.
more of an affinity.
Oh, leave the Phillies alone.
There's more of an affinity. By the way, and Connor, say it right. If somebody had given me if someone's saying the Phillies are hurting you right now, especially after the last few years, I'm going to say, put your big boy frickin' pants on and just shut up. And I will just shut up. I mean, seriously.
Well, they lost last night.
I understand. And I was
that's why I wore
asleep.
my Eagles shirt
And I was
today.
asleep when they lost.
Franchise record in wins for the first month.
How dare they could have extended it to 20 wins. All right. So answer the questions. A, are you watching tonight? And B, if you are, how emotionally invested are you into tonight's game for the Sixers, Game 5 against the Knicks at Madison Square Garden? You can listen live right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Please do it.
Radio voice, man. All right. Now, we just played a clip from Nick Wright, who says that Howie Roseman drafts the players that are on the media big boards, right?
It's so stupid.
It's ridiculous.
It's such a stupid stance.
Oh, they got Nolan Smith at 30. Well, yeah, they got Nolan Smith at 30. He mentioned Kobe Dean. All right, they got him in the 3rd round. Like, I'm going to take a 3rd-round pick on a 1st-round talent, right?
Correct.
It might not work out, but it's worth a freaking shot. He didn't take him in the 2nd round. He didn't take him in the 1st round. He took him in the 3rd round.
Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
5th round.
Took him in the 5th.
Cooper DeJean,
right.
2nd round, when a lot of people had him going in the teens. If he was the media-driven GM, he would have taken DeJean at 22.
He would have.
Right? Like, he would have
No, that would have been one of those picks.
He would have taken Kobe Dean in the first round.
No, he would have traded up to get Mitchell.
Right. He would have traded up to Mitchell instead of sitting and staying at 22 and getting Mitchell.
Nick Wright with that is the dumbest take on Howie Roseman I've ever heard.
Well, here's Howie Roseman with Rich Eisen yesterday explaining how the draft board went the Eagles' way in the first round to select Quinyon Mitchell. And then I have a pretty big freaking question to ask you guys about Howie that I don't think anyone could say no to. But here's Howie Roseman yesterday with Rich Eisen.
Yeah, I feel like the teams in the top 10 had options at positions that made sense for them. I felt like once you got to 11 through 20, the three quarterbacks going kind of affected that range of players. And that allowed guys to fall down that normally wouldn't have fallen down in other drafts. And so I think when teams were sitting there, they felt very comfortable about who they were picking in the first round. And when you do that, you're not willing to move off that spot. And the flip side is you don't have to move up because, you look at your board and say, hey, there's 3 picks left to my pick. I have 3 guys that I still really like. I'm in a good spot.
Is that how it works? Like your draft board's not just vertical, but it's also horizontal? That's
exactly right. That's exactly right.
So Howie Roseman explaining how the draft went their way, which is great, right? He didn't trade up. He didn't feel the need to. He didn't get itchy. You and I were talking about it.
I would have been.
You would have traded up to 19 to get Quinyon Mitchell.
No questions asked. I would have said, hey, Rams, I'll give you something.
All right, I have a question about Howie Roseman, then we're going to get to some texts about the Sixers because Connor wrote on the board, we have wonderful Sixers texts that I can't wait to get to. Is this version of Howie Roseman, this version, like the one that you're seeing right now, last year, the year before, I'm not saying post-Super Bowl victory because we know how he became smartest man in the room syndrome, but a lot of the best players, GMs, coaches learn from their mistakes and get better at that. Some guys stick to their ways, and that's why they're not in the league anymore, like Chip Kelly. Right? Like Chip Kelly never adapted, and that's why he's no longer a coach in the NFL. Look, he's not even a head coach in college anymore. He's now an offensive coordinator. Is this version of Howie Roseman the best or most trusted general manager or, president of operations or executive in Philadelphia sports since 2000, since the turn of the century?
Pat Gillick.
That's the only other guy
That's
I thought
the only name that that's the only name that comes to mind. And the thing
my
is,
Wikipedia page
was
Pat
up to
Gillick. It's the only other name I thought about.
But I got to tell you this, Dave Dombrowski's coming close.
It's close.
For me, because of the fact that Dave Dombrowski has the resume of being a guy who consistently, no matter where he is hired, he leaves the place better than he found it.
Okay. Now, I will say this about Dombrowski, and this is not me ripping Dave Dombrowski.
Not at all.
You could say the same thing about him as Nick Wright said about Howie Roseman. All right, so he got the biggest priced right fielder out there, Nick Castellanos. He got the biggest bag in college. Like, he's just getting the biggest name available.
Okay.
Now, part of this is also a carryover from, the previous regime with Contact, with JT Realmuto and Bryce Harper. And all these moves worked out. But I could say that you could make the exact same case. Like, all right, he found a diamond in the rough with Jose Alvarado. Right, and Orion Kirkering is making his way up through the ranks.
Trade for Brandon Marsh looks pretty good right now.
Looks pretty good.
No, really good.
Logan
that
O'Hoppe
trade
also
really
looks
good.
pretty good with the Angels.
Where was he going to play?
Right, no, I get that. But, it's...
No, I get what you're saying. But
this is not me. Like, I credit Howie Roseman. I credit Dave Dombrowski.
The only problem is that where I think it's different is the resume.
Okay.
The resume of Dave Dombrowski is fantastic.
Well, the resume of Howie Roseman is a Super Bowl winning executive and a guy that returned to the Super Bowl.
It is, and I absolutely believe me. I never jumped. See, again, as a
I know
fandom,
you didn't jump.
I didn't jump off the Howie bandwagon, even when I was not happy.
Right.
With Howie, though. I'm not painting it as, I saw this visionary. I was one more shot, give him a shot. Let's get this right.
But the reason why I find this question so fascinating is I know I'm not alone of being a guy that wanted to move on from Howie Roseman. Think about
You're not alone. No.
The roller coaster that Howie Roseman has been a part of. And this goes Andy days, Chip Kelly, broom closet, comes back, wins the Super Bowl. People wanted him fired 2-3 years later, myself included. Then he comes back, gets them back to a Super Bowl. Then a lot of people were upset with his defensive strategy last year. There has been a roller coaster of emotions surrounding Eagles fans with Howie Roseman. But I think he might be the most trustworthy general manager or whatever title you want to give him since 2000 in Philadelphia. And that's crazy.
That is crazy. What you're saying
Gillick
is true.
is the only guy I thought of that could maybe rival that. But other than that, with all due respect to Ruben Amaro, it can't be Ruben Amaro Jr.
No, it's not Ruben Amaro Jr.
It can't be Ed Snyder and everybody that was a part of that Flyers regime. Even though they were competitive, they never won anything.
And Ruben was given like people will take shots
The keys
at
to
Ruben.
the Ferrari,
but he was
blah.
also given the impossible task.
Right, and look,
there was going to be step down.
I didn't blame the moves that he was making at the beginning of the decline. I didn't blame you. You still had very talented players. He just didn't see that it was coming to an end. But I think Howie Roseman right now, and I don't think you can say no, is the most trustworthy executive in Philadelphia since 2000.
I don't think there's
since the turn of the century.
There shouldn't be an argument to that.
So I would love to hear from you
be.
on that as well when it comes to Howie Roseman. And it's fascinating because a lot of you, myself included, wanted him gone just a couple of years ago. And now I'm saying that he's this version of him, by the way, this version. Not the one that drafted Jalen Reagor. This version of Howie Roseman is the most trustworthy executive in Philadelphia sports since the turn of the century, man. You can climb in on the phone lines with the text line 610-632-0975. Speaking of the text line, apparently there are some wonderful Sixers texts about tonight's game and about the mentality of a Sixers fan going into tonight's game. I'm asking about you, not the Sixers game itself. I'm not breaking down what they should do against the Knicks, what the Sixers should do offensively.
Are you Connor?
I'm asking you. Are you getting sucked in tonight? Are you even going to let yourself get emotionally invested? We'll hear from some of you on the text line. Coming up next, Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Bob Cooney.
Jalen Brunson has to control the game for the New York Knicks. And with the ball in his hand and getting where he wants.
Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Got a couple questions going your way. Are you watching tonight for the Sixers Game 5? And look, me and John and Connor are all watching tonight. I think we're just all going to watch it a little bit differently. Like, I'm going to watch it as emotionally invested as possible. I will yell and scream if they end up losing tonight and there's a poor effort. You're watching tonight, I think, with the same emotional feeling, but you also realize that this could be the last game, and that makes you sad.
It's just the idea of going, okay, there's one more thing off my plate that I enjoy for 5 months.
And then Connor is not going to be emotionally invested at all. He's going to watch. Like, I think every Philadelphia fan might watch this game a little bit differently than we normally would, or than your neighbor. And so I asked the question, A, are you watching? B, if you are, how emotionally invested are you watching? And then an Eagles question that we have for you is, Howie Roseman the most trustworthy executive in Philadelphia sports since 2000? This current version of Howie Roseman. And the only guy that John and I could think of that rivals Howie Roseman is Pat Gillick, who built the freaking Phillies, what could have been dynasty had they won one more World Series. But that team was very, very, very good. Now, I see a response on Twitter, because I see that that Haley and Brendan put out the question from the YouTube feed. Shout out to our YouTube audience. Anthony responds, not only will I not buy back in, I probably won't even tune in. 4 years of tanking for 6 years of soft, gutless basketball. I'm ready to pull the plug on this era and move on. That's pain right there, dude.
I responded to him. I said, I hate hearing it, but completely understand it. But the thing is that I fan differently than him. I fan differently. I cannot. There is a playoff game. There is a playoff series. There is
John,
whatever
I
it is.
agree with you.
I can't.
But, man, this has been a painful ride. And at some point, there is a breaking point for people. And I think Connor hit his breaking point the other night.
Yeah, dude, I'm done.
Like you said, 0 field goals made in the final 5 minutes of a basketball game.
It was terrible.
And, oh, by the way, that's basically the exact same story as last year. Final 5 minutes, Game 6. They made field goals, but the big man and James Harden disappeared. And the final 5 minutes in back-to-back years were just horrible.
And then Game 7, they failed to even show up.
They didn't even show up.
And then the year before, they no-show in Miami and then lose Game 6. Then the year before that, I mean, it's a constant with this crew. And it's just, it's what they do to you. Unfortunately, I don't find it as an abusive relationship because I don't allow them to hurt me like that because I almost expect it. I don't believe.
Well, then that's sad, too, that you just expect pain.
No, I expect pain because I don't buy into what other Sixers fans buy into. I don't buy into this vision. I never bought into losing on purpose. I never bought into I said, I can watch Toronto. I can watch Milwaukee. I can watch Golden State. I can watch, even though Golden State had some bad years. I can watch teams win championships without losing on purpose. I never liked it. I never got into it. So
but you can also make the point, and I don't want to go down memory lane of the process, but Giannis was a generational talent that 15 other he was drafted 16th overall,
he was,
right?
absolutely.
15 other teams passed on him. Toronto won because they had the best player in the world. Kawhi Leonard.
He was spectacular.
They rolled the dice for 1 year Kawhi Leonard, and it completely paid off for him.
It did.
And then
it absolutely did.
And then Golden State. Look, the Minnesota Timberwolves passed on Steph, drafted Flynn and Ricky Rubio. And the Warriors draft Steph Curry, who becomes the greatest shooter in the history of the NBA.
No, I get you. But that's fine. But it doesn't the majority, the vast. How about almost every single franchise did not have to do that to build themselves a championship club. I didn't buy into it. So the Sixers have always they damaged me more with that than they have with the last 6 years.
I'm not anti-process, and I never will be because it got you a generational talent in Joel Embiid. It's just that generational talent is cursed like we are as Sixers fans. Like Nikola Jokic is a generational talent. The Nuggets got him in the second round. They lucked out with him. You know what else they lucked out with? He's healthy every single year. It's not the Sixers didn't look at Joel Embiid and go, oh, man, let's ignore his injury
And they wouldn't even have gotten him if he was healthy.
Well, yeah, or
the Sixers wouldn't even have gotten Embiid.
Or we didn't even want him. Winless for Wiggins, right? So that would have been even worse than what you've gotten out of Joel Embiid. Now, what text do we have coming in, Connor? Because you told me the text line is buzzing and it's wonderful.
Absolutely. So we have this one. I love this text. And actually, you can see older texts when you check in on the text line. Like, you can show some previously sent ones.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
And you're going to love this guy because he sent a previous text like a week ago saying, quoting as Tobias Harris's father, when I said he was an unconscious scorer, I meant he shoots layups like an unconscious person. So I figured you would enjoy that text.
But I'm telling you, if they lose tonight,
pop bottles.
Popping bottle. And it's not because I'm happy that the Sixers lost. It's because I'm happy that Tobias Harris is no longer a Sixer. I will celebrate it tonight. But continue, please.
He says, he checks in today, no name on this, but I'll be watching. The night revolves around it. But it's kind of like doing something with your wife that you'd rather not do. You're there, you love everyone involved and understand the obligation, but it's not fun and you'd much rather be doing something else.
That's a great analogy. That is a great analogy.
Yeah.
I
love all my wife's friends.
That's a perfect analogy, but that is part of it.
But you're still a part of it, but you're not locked in.
No, you're not locked in.
When you're at the gathering with your wife's friends, you're probably checking on your phone more often than you normally would. Like if you were with your boys, you're not checking your phone.
Depends on if your wife's friends have good husbands.
By the way, happy early Mother's Day to
Happy early Mother's Day.
The
same could be reversed, right? This is a show of equality, right? Like, I'm sure Christy doesn't have all the fun in the world with the boys. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't imagine.
So it could be reversed.
Unless their wives are cool.
Right. That was just from the point of view of a male.
I tell you, 20-some years into marriage, there is the rule in our house where we do not obligate the other spouse to do things as a couple if the other spouse just cannot hang with the other person's husband or wife.
That's beautiful.
So
that's beautifully said.
It was negotiated by me.
Beautifully said. What else do we have on the text line, Connor?
On the other hand, Jeff from the Northeast checks in and says, I'm in the foxhole, baby, and I've been here since the sandbox. I'm locked in tonight. Sixers in 7 LFG.
Hey, we had a caller yesterday that wanted to bring positivity toward the end of the show. He said Sixers in 7, and I'm all for it. If you still want to be holly jolly positive Sixers fan, feel free. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to turn you down because I want to be you. I normally am that person.
You normally aren't. And I wonder if this series, and I seriously ask this question, I wonder if this series and this year has broken you of this mindset of a sunshine and lollipops-ish view of where the Sixers are. I wonder if it's broken you.
You know what will fix it?
A win tonight?
No. John, I said, and I quote.
I know what's going to fix it for you.
I said before the show today, and I quote, I will take a Sixers 50-point loss tonight if it means this.
Wait till you hear it.
And I'll tell you what next, and I'm telling you right now, if you are against it, you are just a hater.
Hater, yeah.
No, seriously, just a hater because it makes basketball sense. I'll explain what that is next. I will take a Sixers 50-point loss tonight if it means this. Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Sixers...
Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic. The day of Game 5, it could be elimination day for the Sixers if they lose at Madison Square Garden tonight.
Could be.
If they win, they force a Game 6, which would be Thursday night at the Wells Fargo Center. And look, hopefully they do win, and hopefully they do force a Game 7, and hopefully they do win and move on and take on the Indiana Pacers in the second round. All this sounds great. We talked about the path to the Eastern Conference Finals before the playoffs had started. It was, on paper, again, everything is on paper, the easiest path for them to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, except for the year they lost to the Atlanta Hawks. And they're doing the exact same thing. They're disappointing us. They're losing the games. They're losing in ways where you just shake your head. And honestly, dude, I'm not an effort question guy. I've questioned it twice in this series already. I've questioned effort twice.
And I'm questioning it.
And we should. And we should. Like, this isn't just radio hot take guy who hates the teams. Like, no, I have to legitimately question effort. When I see Josh Hart grabbing 17 rebounds in a basketball game.
It's embarrassing.
He's not 7'5". No, he's a wing player, and he's grabbing 17 rebounds. That is just strictly effort, grabbing those rebounds. And nobody on the Sixers has that. Nobody. God, I'm back to it.
I like it. You're back to it. There is something that could change your opinion, though, that could get you excited.
All right.
Again.
I think if you're against this, John, you're just a hater.
A hater.
And I know you hate that term, but seriously, there is no
yes,
other
because I'm not a
term for
teenage
this.
girl, so I don't use hater much.
All right.
Yes.
So we would love to hear from you on the phone lines and text lines, 610-632-0975. Are you watching tonight? Question 1. Question 2, if you are, which I want you to, and I hope a lot of you are, and I expect the majority of Sixers fans to, but I wouldn't be shocked if like 20% of Sixers fans aren't watching tonight. If you are watching tonight, how emotionally invested are you? Are you scrolling on your phone? Are you going to the bathroom during timeouts? Are you talking to your wife? Are you talking with your friend? Whatever. How emotionally invested are you in tonight's game? Are you going to allow yourself to feel even more pain? And if they win, are you going to allow yourself to feel pain in Game 6? That'll be a conversation for another day. The other question, is Howie Roseman the most trustworthy executive right now in Philadelphia? Hit this version of Howie Roseman in Philadelphia since 2000. And the only other name that we could think of was Pat Gillick. I mean, that's how tremendous of a job this guy's doing. But, John, there is one thing that will make me happy.
Oh, boy.
And I said it to you before the show, and I stand by it. I would take a Sixers 50-point loss tonight. Lose 100-50, 150-100, 50-0. Get shut out. I don't care if it means they get LeBron James. Here is LeBron James after last night's loss. The Lakers lose their series against the Denver Nuggets, and LeBron James was asked about his future in L.A.
Tonight, was there any thought at all that, this could have been your last game with the Lakers?
I'm not going to answer that. Appreciate it.
All right. So there's an option in his contract. He could walk.
He could.
He could walk. John, I'm telling you right now, if the Sixers were to acquire LeBron James, they don't have to trade for him. Sign him to a 1-2-year deal, whatever he's interested in.
He wants to play 2.
2 years.
He's already on the record, 2 years.
Okay. With the next team?
Yes.
Or
well, he wants to play 2 more years. He wants to play 2 more years.
Yeah, you know why? Because he knows Bronny's not coming out of college this year. He plays. I had the LeBron James plan years ago. Now, I thought it could have been Sixers, 1 more year at the Cavs, and then wherever Bronny goes, so he could play his 1 year with Bronny. That's still a possibility, by the way. But if the Sixers were to acquire LeBron James via free agency, and I want to say this now for the person listening saying, oh, my God, really? Slow news day? No. If the Sixers were to acquire LeBron James and your team next year is Joel Embiid, still on the max contract, Tyrese Maxey gets his max contract, you see however you work out LeBron James, and then you allow the veterans that want to try to play with LeBron or try to win a championship to come here in Philadelphia. And, of course, some of the younger players that you have, like if Ricky Council, right? You do have some guys that will be here next year. You are a finals contender the second he puts on a Sixers uniform. And it's not just because of who he is. It's because of how he plays. He is the stretch 4 that they've never had. Tyrese Maxey doesn't have to be a point guard, which he's clearly is not totally a point guard. He can run on offense a little bit, but there's a lot of dribble handoffs with Joel Embiid. LeBron James knows how to play with a Joel Embiid. You know why? Because he's been doing it for years now with Anthony Davis. The guys that live in the 1970s with basketball, the big man needs to be on the block. Not many big men are doing that, especially guys like Joel Embiid and Anthony Davis. LeBron James has the experience of playing with a player like a Joel Embiid by playing with Anthony Davis. The guy is, by the way, not going to come in here and average 10, 10, and 10. No, he's a guy that can look at his playoff stats from this series. I know they lost. He's scoring 30 points. He's dishing out 12 assists. He's grabbing 10 boards. He almost averaged a triple-double in this series against the team that just won the NBA Finals last year and very well could win the NBA Finals again this year. If he steps on the floor in a Sixers uniform, you are a championship contender. I don't care if it's for 1 year. I don't care if it's for 2 years. I don't care if you have to sell the farm that they don't have because they don't have anybody here. I want to freaking win a championship, and LeBron James gives you that opportunity. It opens your window back up with Joel Embiid.
It's the most Sixers thing ever if they were to do this.
And are you complaining about that?
It's the most, no, because I don't believe they're winning a championship with LeBron James here. I don't believe that's happening. I don't think what's LeBron doing? He's already done. He's already done. Like he's home. It's over. LeBron James can be as great a player as you want, but is Joel Embiid going to be healthy? Is Joel Embiid going to be? Is this going to be because LeBron comes here? We have a healthy Embiid.
John, if Joel Embiid does not remain healthy, you have a better chance with LeBron James.
You're not winning anything with.
You have a better chance. Tyrese Maxey and LeBron James is actually a good 1-2 punch.
No question, you might have a better chance. Are you beating a Boston in a 7-game series?
Dude,
no,
chances is all I can ask for at this point. It's either blow it up or try one more time.
It is not. The idea is you're just doubling down on. Let's do a gimmick. The only thing
this isn't
LeBron
a gimmick.
James isn't a gimmick.
LeBron James is not a gimmick
for this franchise.
No, LeBron James is not a gimmick when he's still playing at the level that he's playing.
I didn't say LeBron James is a gimmick. I said it is a gimmick for the franchise to go, hey, we're still around. We're still relevant. We're still here. Let's do it.
I don't understand the difference between that and saying LeBron James is a gimmick.
It is not, because LeBron James isn't a gimmick. He's a hell of a player.
But you said it's a gimmick for the Sixers.
LeBron James is sitting at home now. Already, before like the Sixers could be tonight. If you don't have enough of a surrounding cast, LeBron James isn't carrying people anywhere right now.
Dude, he averaged 26, 8, and 7 this year.
You could give me all the stats you want. It didn't carry the Lakers anywhere. It got them to the play-in tournament?
John, it got in a deeper Western Conference.
Right.
What is the East? We're talking about if Joel Embiid played, let's say he missed half the time, they're the 2 seed. How many times have you pointed out that the Knicks won only X amount more games than the Sixers did after the Joel?
It was 3 or 4.
Imagine if I said if James Harden was still on this team, they're the 2 seed. If James Harden was still on this team, they're the 2 seed. I'm getting LeBron James, who does have it in here, right? You know that he
absolutely has it in
you
there.
Don't the issues you have with James Harden, you do not have with LeBron James, right?
No.
And LeBron James is still playing at a high level.
LeBron James, handful of greatest players I've ever watched.
You are a 2 seed with LeBron James the second he steps on the court, because there's no other team in the Eastern Conference other than Boston that you're worried about. That's it.
And you tell me right now, Embiid, Maxey, LeBron James. And then whatever guys who want to come and glob on.
It's going to be the vets that glob on, yeah.
I am still telling you are no better than the 5th, 6th best team in the NBA. And you're saying there's a chance. Okay, there's a chance. Absolutely. Do you have a better chance? And would it be entertaining? I got to tell you, it'd be more entertaining than...
It would be extremely entertaining.
If they go get Paul George.
But, John, you say the 5th, 6th best team in the NBA. All right, so one of the teams that are ahead of you is Boston. All those other teams, the 3, 4 other teams that you're mentioning, they're in the Western Conference. I don't have to worry about them until the NBA Finals, which we'd finally get out of the second round. We'd finally get out of the Eastern Conference. To me, if you don't want LeBron James, and I don't want to call you a hater. You're pointing out gimmicks and all this kind of other stuff. No, I'm just saying it is. It's he comes in here and plays at the level that he still plays at. The dude is 39 years old and is playing that better than a lot of 20-year-olds at this point in the NBA. It's amazing.
And somehow they don't have to load management him and give him nights off.
He does still load manage.
I think he had 10 games off this year.
Okay.
But he was injured, one of them. Like one of the things. No, 2 of them, I think, was an injury.
No, the guy's
literally had bad things. And he's still, they don't have to shut him
You're
down.
making my point.
No.
Right, so
but
why
it's
don't
not
you-
gonna,
Why wouldn't you want him?
It is, you can say, look, if you're telling me that it's going to be more entertaining, I'm absolutely.
Entertainment aside,
absolutely.
I'm saying
you're not winning a championship
I'm
if
saying,
LeBron
okay,
comes here.
then what do you want to do? Then
No, what do I want to do?
what's your solution?
I want to build a franchise right way.
With
okay,
who?
with who?
Whatever it takes. I'm not talking a 40-year-old. I'm not bringing in a 40-year-old
But John,
and saying
after
you
this
don't have
season,
a better solution.
If you look at the free agents going into next season, it's Paul George.
it is.
And you don't want that. I don't want that.
If
but,
you got-
but I want LeBron James at his age because he is still healthy and is still playing at a higher level than a Paul George.
At 40, I don't want to go to a 40-year-old and say, look, I'll do it for the entertainment value. I'm absolutely going to be entertained.
But, John, he's not the typical 40-year-old.
He isn't.
He's
correct.
not Udonis Haslam, who signed 18 consecutive
How long do you
contracts
think
with
this
the Heat.
goes, though? I mean, like, you think he's...
Until he's done, you keep on going. If I'm any NBA franchise should try to get him this offseason if he becomes available. Any NBA
Well, I think
franchise.
they will. I think there's going to be 8, 10
I would say
that line.
all 30.
Oh, I don't believe that.
All 30.
I don't believe that will be the case. I think you're going to see 8 to 10 teams that would be interested in him.
I'm like maybe
if he's
Denver
there.
doesn't want to go after him, or maybe
Yeah.
Boston doesn't want to go
I don't think Minnesota's going after him. I don't think Denver's going after him. I
Fine,
don't think
20 teams.
I don't think Oklahoma City's going after him.
There's probably at least 20 teams. I bet you Oklahoma City would like him too.
I don't think they would. I mean, they
If
might
come
think
up,
the
if,
value
let's say
of
they
it.
come up again. This is not for a trade. You have to sign him. If he opts out of that contract, you have to sign him. So it's not like the Thunder
No, I
have to
got you.
move on from Chet
But if you're saying
Holmgren
if they-
and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
But you're saying if they come up short again, they're just starting.
I know, but what if they,
And they have
what
a
if they
window
want
of-
that veteran presence that comes? LeBron James doesn't just come
But
with
he
extreme
changes
talent.
every single thing about you. Now here, it's much less of an impact. For one of those young teams, LeBron changes
fine.
everything in the
Then
dynamic.
let's focus on here. If he comes in here, you are a better basketball team, period.
No one's arguing that. I'm not arguing with you.
You bring in a...
Are you winning a champ? Like, I want to win a championship.
I would tell you right now, your chances at winning a championship increases mightily. What have we complained about when it comes to this Sixers team? We've complained about, all right, when Joel Embiid is unhealthy, have they been able to win without him? LeBron James gives you a better chance of winning when Joel Embiid is not on the court. We have complained about professionalism when it comes to this franchise. LeBron James brings professionalism. We've complained about maturity when it comes to this team.
So he's going to infuse this into the roster?
Bro, if you are a young player and you're not listening to LeBron James,
What if you're a 31-year-old center?
he's playing with him in Team USA, is he not?
No, but because of the fact it's Team USA. Is he going to change the makeup of...
We've seen we talk about how Jimmy Butler helped him in certain ways. Why wouldn't LeBron James?
I got to tell
This
you.
era's a Michael Jordan.
I would LeBron James is spectacular. There's nothing. And if you're saying to me, you're making points that are very valid. Yeah, they have a better chance to win a championship if LeBron came here. Yeah, they're not winning a championship, but they got a better chance.
You don't know that. You do not know that.
You don't know it either. You don't. I mean, like, that's the most
But
ridiculous
all I-
argument.
but all
you
I
don't
can-
know it. You don't know. What I do know is this: they wouldn't have enough, and more importantly, they're not going to go deep enough. And building a
How do you know that they won't have enough?
How can you say with certainty
Because
that
they
LeBron James, the greatest player of this era, with
He is,
multiple
absolutely.
championships, with multiple franchises, is not enough for this team to win?
that he is going to elevate this team to a championship?
Yes. How can you say that's not a
I
possibility?
can say the same way you're trying to tell me that he is. You're speaking in these hypotheticals of what he's going to do.
We're asking you.
So is it going to
for
be Embiid healthy?
For a better solution.
No.
What do you have as a better solution than LeBron James?
What do you mean? What do you have as a better solution? You could decide.
Give us an alternative.
No, you can decide to say, I'm on this wheel. It's not working. I'm going to finally decide to pull the plug, and we're going to do a rebuild.
So then you're
right.
starting all over.
Yeah, you might.
I'd rather give myself one more
I know
shot.
you would. I know you would. I get that.
And look,
no one doesn't understand what you're saying, Andrew.
Dude.
But it's the idea is that you're going, well, I give myself a better chance. Yes, no one's arguing that. Well, the Sixers would have a better chance if LeBron was on the roster. Yeah, they would. But are they winning? You really believe you believe the Sixers, if we just said Maxey, Embiid, give me one other player that joins LeBron James. Give me one other. Just give me one other.
Dude, let's just do this exact same starting five, but you take out Tobias Harris and put in LeBron James.
Okay, they are
plain and simple.
They are what?
They're the 2 seed in the, if not the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference.
They are if Embiid doesn't miss
Dude, if
his 2
Embiid
months.
misses 2 months, they are the 2 seed. You yourself have pointed
No.
out that the Knicks
No.
that are currently beating your asses in the series.
If Embiid doesn't miss 2 months, as I said to you, they'd be the 2 seed. If he misses 2 months, they're not.
No.
They're not. The Lakers were a 7 seed this year. I think. What, are they 7?
I'm telling you
Were
right
they?
now.
I mean, like.
But the Western Conference is so much better than the Eastern
It is
Conference.
a better conference.
You yourself have pointed out the math that without Joel Embiid, the Knicks still only won 3 more games than the Sixers. You add LeBron James, they're not. What was it? 16 and 27 without Joel Embiid this year.
I think
that was the
I think
record.
it's around the number.
They're not going 16 and 27.
Oh, I
If
don't believe they
Okay,
would either.
and so they're the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference.
That would be great. And the 2 seed. What does it mean?
John, it gives me. You're not signing LeBron James to a 5-year max contract, taking him till he's 43.
I understand.
Or 44.
You're doing a 2-year deal.
2-year deal.
Huge money, 2-year deal. You can do it if you got the money to do it.
I'd rather do 2 years of that.
I know you would.
Than rebuild and try to do it all over again, and then we're complaining that if they don't win 5 years from now, 6 years from now.
It would be so much fun to watch. It would absolutely be fun and entertaining. No one's arguing it. You have a better chance to win a championship. No one's arguing it. You're not better than Boston. LeBron comes here, you're not better than Boston. You are not a better team. You're not a better team than Boston.
You could be. LeBron James, from a basketball standpoint, makes absolute sense with this team. Stretch 4.
Very
facilitator.
exciting. Very exciting.
Not even exciting.
Yes.
I'm saying basketball. He fits actually perfectly with this team.
Do you think if the Sixers added LeBron James, they would be the odds-on favorite to win an NBA championship? Or do you think they'd be the Eastern Conference favorites?
I would say Eastern Conference favorites, and if not the Eastern Conference favorites, they are second, and it's close behind Boston.
I think it would be behind Boston. They'd be second.
But it'd be close.
I think they'd be behind Boston.
It wouldn't be
second.
Boston minus 120 and then Sixers plus 400. It would be pretty damn close.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I'll buy into that. That it would be fairly.
That's all I
close.
can ask for. Or you go your route, which is rebuild. That means That means Embiid's gone, right? You're trading Embiid because you might only have 2 years of Embiid left. And if that's the case, I might as well have 2 years of LeBron James with them. And if not, then you're rebuilding, and then we'll see if can Daryl Morey rebuild. I don't know if Daryl Morey.
Yes, we do. Do we not know that answer?
What, he traded for James Harden?
But it doesn't. I don't think Daryl Morey has shown us that he can do that.
No, that's why I'm saying. Why would you believe in Daryl Morey to rebuild it then?
No, what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying to you though is that I don't believe these moves. These are the Daryl Morey type moves. Going and getting LeBron would be a Daryl Morey type move, and it would be very entertaining and very.
Sounds good to me.
That's
Yeah,
right.
man.
You're all excited. Oh, so you're back.
No.
That would get him back.
LeBron James gets a lot of people
So
back.
he'd be emotionally invested.
Player
I'm-
ever for me.
I just if you're against the idea of it, if you want to tell me you'd rather do a traditional rebuild, fine. But if you think from a basketball standpoint that it would not work, I think you're foolish.
I would think that there's no one would argue with you that they're not a better team if they added LeBron. They are. Are they winning a championship? No. That's what I care about right now is winning a championship. They're not winning a championship with LeBron James.
Don't
They're
know
not.
that.
And you don't either.
That's a wild.
And
But I'm giving myself
it's a wild
better
statement.
chance.
You're talking about they have not gotten out of a second round with Embiid and Maxey.
Yes, so
you're
now you
saying
add LeBron James?
Then LeBron is carrying you, not Embiid, right?
He would be a part of it.
No. Who's carrying you?
There might be a game where Joel Embiid drops 40, and then the next night it might be LeBron that drops 35.
And is it going to be, what do we always say, is it going to be the year that he's healthy come playoff time?
Dude, and if he's not healthy, I have a better chance with LeBron James than Tobias Harris.
But you're not winning a championship.
Dude, all I can say is I have more chances.
I got you. I understand
and I got to sometimes play the percentage game. As Mr. Kincaid's calculator, I would think that you would appreciate that.
There's nothing more. It's exciting. It'd be fun. It's kicking the can. It's kicking the can and going, this will be exciting to watch. And guess what? I'd be there for it. I'd be there to watch it. I'd be highly entertained. Highly entertained.
He would fit perfectly with this team. Perfectly. No questions in my mind. Perfect fit. We'll continue this conversation.
40-year-olds.
We will continue this conversation. We'll be joined by Jeff McClain from the Inquirer, Inquirer.com, coming your way next to get our reaction from Jeff McClain about what the Eagles did in this draft.
And
what
LeBron.
I bet you he would want LeBron James. All right, so we'll talk to Jeff next. But I promise, as this show continues, I would love to get your reaction because I think John is ludicrous You can climb in on the phone lines or text line 610-632-0975. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Game 5 at the Garden. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by Macy's.
Perfect.
And, man, it was a spirited last segment about LeBron James. We will talk about more of that coming up in a little bit. You can call in or text at 610-632-0975. I think John is absolutely ridiculous if you don't want LeBron James here in Philadelphia. Look, from a basketball standpoint.
Oh, my gosh. It'd be
fits
amazing.
perfectly.
Fun to watch.
He fits, but not just entertainment. I'm saying from basketball, strictly basketball. Okay. He fits perfectly with this team. But right now, let's take a minute from the Sixers conversation, and let's head to the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward to what's next. From the Inquirer, Inquirer.com, the great Jeff McClain joins us. Jeffrey, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, guys.
It was a incredible weekend for the Philadelphia Eagles. Wheeling and dealing Howie Roseman as we expected. They Quinyon Mitchell falls to 22. Cooper DeJean they acquire in the second round. I mean, Jeff, give us some of your thoughts on the draft weekend for the Philadelphia Eagles.
I mean, I've been around long enough to know that the excitement can be tempered very quickly when it comes to the draft. So, I mean, look, we don't even know about the class from 2 years ago if that's been successful or not. So, I'm going to hold the phone on making any giving any grades or any prognosis about the future of this draft class. I guess on the first two guys, if the Eagles say they got first round grades on them and they got them ahead of where they said they would get him. So they're probably very happy. Obviously on the third day, they were able to get, Jeremiah Trotter's son. So, that's some really good PR, I assume. I'm not going to claim to know anything about these guys and whether they're going to be good NFL players because I don't think anyone knows, including the Eagles.
We liked the plan of seeing the secondary get addressed. I didn't expect the secondary to be addressed twice in the first 2 picks. How much did that part shock you?
A little bit, just because they've gotten away from drafting specifically for need. I guess you could say that it's not an immediate need. Well, no, I think outside cornerback's an immediate need. I don't think James Bradbury's starting. And then with Cooper DeJean, it's still uncertain about where he'll play in the secondary. But clearly that's an area they wanted to go into and address. And you have to be careful when you're doing that, right? You don't want to push it. And that's not typically a position the Eagles dress early in the draft, as we all know, right? The last cornerback they drafted in the first round was Leo Shepard in 2002. They also got Sheldon Brown in the second round, Michael Lewis, safety in the second round. Everyone remembers that draft, which was pretty successful. So maybe they're hoping to kind of recreate that magic again. And we'll see. I thought O-line would probably be in the mix there. They did address it on the third day, but look, and one thing you got to give Howie credit for in his career as GM, I think he does this as good as anyone, is that when he doesn't get somebody or he makes something doesn't pan out, he moves pretty quickly. And in this case, he did at the offensive line when they signed Mekhi Becton to a 1-year deal on Sunday, excuse me.
Now, Jeff, I know everybody has input when it comes to the selections of the players, whether it's the head coach, the coordinators, scouts, you name it. But the 2 defensive players early on, or no, 3 defensive players, because Jalen Hunt was their third pick as well. Do you think this was because they needed defensive players, or do you think Vic Fangio had a lot to say about 3 defensive players going off the boards for the Eagles early on?
Again, look, I'm not going to, when I said they're pressing needs, I'm not saying they're sitting there, okay, we got to definitely get players for the secondary, or we definitely have to address the defensive side of the ball here in these first 2 days. But it can subconsciously influence your thinking when you're looking at your draft board. And then really, honestly, if you have equal grades on, let's say, a cornerback and a wide receiver, right? Let's say that. You're going to go cornerback, right? So, the Eagles, the defense, we all know was abysmal, especially late in the season last year. And a lot of that had to do with personnel. A lot of it was scheme and coaching, but some of it had to do with personnel in the secondary. And, because I don't think Jelix and even Howie has called a developmental player. I don't think you're looking to get somebody that's going to help you out immediately in that case. How much longer is Vic Fangio coaching, right?
Right.
Now, Fangio is said to have liked the guy, but I just don't think if you're the Eagles, you don't want to be draft pushing needs, and you don't want to be pushing schemes because we've seen these last several years, even with Nick Sirianni, the schemes have changed under him. So that's always a faulty way of thinking. I think you just got to get the best players, guys that are so good that they can fit into any scheme.
Cooper DeJean gets drafted, and he's doing his press conference, and you ask a question, and all these people are I see you catching shrapnel for asking a question about a white cornerback. Can you talk a little bit about the question and what that discussion point is about?
It was news to me, and your producer asked me about it. News to me that
people were begging me to ask you about it on Saturday and Sunday, and I'm like, I'm sure Jeff will address it if he's asked.
Yeah, how many years have there been starting a white cornerback in the NFL?
Not many that I remember.
It's been 20 years, right? So,
Angie Harmon's husband.
Right.
Ex-husband.
So it's obviously a story if he goes out and does it. Now there have been Seahorn was the last regular. There was a cornerback for the Bengals that started in 2003. He was the last, and there have been about 6 or 7 other white cornerbacks. Dustin Fox being one of them, who I know pretty well.
Dustin also.
Dustin's telling me he'd get a little annoyed when everyone assumed that he was a safety, and So obviously it was a question that I felt was that need to be asked. I mean, does he think that he's going to get the opportunity, and does he think that he's going to win that job? Now, I've spoken to the Eagles came out, Howie Roseman came out and declined to really kind of pigeonhole him into a position. I spoke to specifically five other high-ranking executives around the league to see where they projected him, and three of them said, we would have given him an opportunity, a cornerback, but envision him probably playing, having a chance to play all three positions if you include the slot. Two other guys said they primarily had him slotted to be a safety. And from what I understand, I think the Eagles, they're going to give him an opportunity, but I think they expect long-term, maybe even short-term, that he'll be a middle field player, which means that he could play safety, he could play in the slot, he could play down the box. I mean, he could do a lot of stuff. This kid's very versatile. And the closest comp that I kept hearing was Malcolm Jenkins, who came into the NFL as an outside cornerback, played there for 1 year. By year two, he moved to safety. And by the time he got to Philadelphia, he became one of maybe the most versatile defensive back in the league. He played both safety spots. He could play slot. He played a little quasi linebacker. I mean, he could do it all. So if you're getting the next Malcolm Jenkins, I mean, you got to be. Now it's a high bar and it's high praise right now. Let's hold the phone a little bit to steal a phrase I used from earlier. But if that's your comp, that's a pretty good one.
Speaking of Jeff McClain on the Comcast Business Hotline, Jeff, it was basically overshadowed because it was draft weekend, but A.J. Brown signs his extension right before the first round started. Does this mean we can stop the speculation of him being a horrible teammate and he and Jalen Hurts hate each other and that he should be traded?
Yeah, again, another thing I really didn't – I mean, Jalen and him hate each other?
That's dude. It's the word on the street. It's people reading too much into interactions on the sideline because A.J. Brown is fiery and Jalen Hurts is not fiery. It's just nonsense what some people think.
I saw Dallas Goedert and I guess they got into it that one time early in the season. I mean, yeah, I went down to Mississippi last summer and I got pictures of like Jalen and A.J. working out as 18-year-olds. Like these guys they're like brothers. Right. You're going to have that at times, and that we only saw it once. But other than that, I'm not really sure where that narrative came from. And in terms of AJ, I mean, everyone loves him in the locker room. I don't know where that came from. I mean, certainly, look, I guess he can be temperamental, right? He's admitted as much. He's a passionate guy. Maybe. Sometimes he's a little immature. He's got to figure out a few things out, but he's admitted as much again himself. He just wants to win, and this guy puts in the work. He puts in the work with his teammates in terms of getting to know them. So, and obviously the Eagles giving him an extension here shows just how much they are committed to him these next several years. Look, I'm not saying that he was like 100% like. I'm sure he's happy for Devontae Smith, but I'm sure that he, the competitor in him wanted to get paid just as much or more, right? And I'm sure maybe that played a factor into it because it was a little bit of a surprise to me that this deal happened when it did. He had 3 years left on his existing extension. Typically, you don't really see that. I know he only had this year as a guarantee, but he's still playing at a high level. He could have gone in the next offseason, unless he got hurt or there's some crazy regression. He could have gone in the next offseason and maybe gotten even more. So there was a risk in doing that for him, but I guess he felt that he wanted to get a little more comfort moving forward. And I guess the Eagles, I'm not going to exactly say it's a team-friendly deal, but because I got to look a little more at the numbers, but it's certainly something they were willing to do.
Jeff, real quickly, do you think that have you heard anything about Jalen Hurts potentially going out to work with Tom House again this offseason or not?
Yeah, Adam Dato is really the guy he works with who worked, basically kind of took the company still House's, but Adam Dato is the guy that has really been, and then Carson Wentz worked with Adam too as well. So maybe he doesn't have the greatest rep, but yeah, he did. No, I haven't heard anything yet. In fact, I meant to ask Jalen that last week, and instead we only got so many questions in. They kind of cut that short, so I wasn't able to ask that question. But it's something definitely I'll try and find out.
Well, we'll be following along, Jeff. Listen, man, we appreciate you always giving us the time.
Thanks,
and,
Jeff.
We'll be bugging you again next week.
All right, guys. Talk to you soon.
There he is, Jeff McClain on the Comcast Business Hotline from the Philadelphia Inquirer, inquirer.com. All right, coming up next, I want to get your reaction to this LeBron James thing. We have guys that want to call in. We have people that want to text in.
I got a buddy of mine who wants to text in.
Good. And he's NBA TV, you said?
Well, yeah, it's maybe somebody calling me out on it.
Oh, so a guy that, covers the league?
Knows the game?
That thinks he would fit perfectly? You can call in or text in 610-632-0975. And the original question when it comes to the Sixers, how emotionally invested will you allow yourself to get tonight? It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
The real and inside story.
Perfect.
Salciunas on this Tuesday morning.
That's a plane.
Huh?
That's a plane, 747.
Oh, it's
a big plane.
It is a big plane. That's good.
Plane full of LeBron James supporters from my timeline.
Well, I don't see how you can't be a supporter of wanting LeBron James.
It's a false narrative. Yes, there is. Nobody would say it wouldn't be entertaining. Nobody would say it wouldn't be great.
Dude.
I'm talking about winning a championship.
Okay.
Now, and I don't believe LeBron James is winning you a championship coming here. Do not.
All right.
It's fine.
We don't know if they do or don't. We don't know.
You don't.
Right?
Absolutely.
But I can make a legitimate case that your chances increase. There is no lock team to ever win a championship.
No, you make a legitimate case that I'm never going to argue with. Of course their chances go up.
And their chances go up. And that's all I can ask for.
Okay.
Because here's the deal. You can go with the rebuild route, which is a fair answer. That's something that you would rather do a rebuild than bring in LeBron James for 2 years because you think that's kicking the can down the road.
I do.
Now, I think you're disrespecting LeBron James calling him a can.
No, I'm saying kicking the can of the Sixers franchise. I'm not calling him a can. He'd be the best player on the roster.
Yes.
He'd be the best player on the roster,
With
which is a sad thing to say. He'd be the best player.
I don't think it's sad to say that the second,
40,
if not the greatest.
At 40, I got you.
But he's a different 40. As I keep on, look, he's 39, and he averaged better numbers than a lot of players in the NBA this year, right? It's incredible. LeBron James comes here for 2 years. You have a legitimate shot of winning an NBA title or at least getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, which is something that we've been begging for 23 years, right? You want the narrative to end. I would think the narrative legitimately could end if they get out. If LeBron James comes here, they get out of the second round. If they're the 2 seed, they wouldn't have to face Boston until the Eastern Conference Finals. That's beautiful, in my opinion.
And a buddy of mine from NBA TV watching this morning on YouTube. Hello there. Agrees with you, and says, I'll quote him. He said, "Your town needs a moment. Your franchise needs a moment. You got a much better chance to have a moment with LeBron James. Whether it's winning a championship is irrelevant. It's about giving you something that you can celebrate that you haven't had since 2001.
Well, and if you get to the Eastern Conference Finals,
and that's what he's saying.
We've talked about this a lot. You're a Final Four,
and then anything can a twist an ankle.
Anything can happen.
Toronto learned that.
Yeah,
they won a title because of it.
Or if you do the rebuild route, it's gonna take.
It is.
It's gonna take time.
It is absolutely will take.
And
time.
I'd rather give myself one more shot with Joel Embiid. And look, the rebuild would also, like, Tyrese Maxey would still be here. It's not like you're shipping him away.
No. The idea would have to be LeBron, Embiid, and Maxey.
And I would take that. And I don't see how you can't take it.
No, I mean, as for me, I'd be entertained. I'd be front and center for it. I'd love talking about it. It'd be exciting. I don't think it's giving me what I want, but I think it's giving me a much more entertaining product than I'm watching right now.
All right, let's get some reaction on this. And also, the first question that we asked today, how emotionally invested are you going to be in tonight's Sixers game? Let's also remember that there is a game tonight.
Absolutely.
Right?
No question.
The only reason why we're talking LeBron today is because they got eliminated yesterday, and there is a legitimate shot that he could stop playing with the Lakers. And if he stops playing with the Lakers, that means there's a frenzy of who could get LeBron James, and the Sixers would be dumb to not even be in on him.
Oh, no, they'd be in.
They better be in on him. So that's why the LeBron James conversation comes up. But Game 5 is tonight. How emotionally invested are you in tonight's game? We'll get to some text, but let's get to the phone. Let's go to Edith and Chester. Hello, Miss Edith.
Hey, Andrew. Hey, John. How was everybody?
Hi, Edith.
How are you?
Good. Man, I cried all the way from Atlantic City yesterday about that team. We went down to Bagada, Washington, and I mean, everybody. We just couldn't believe it.
And it's effort.
Knew.
It's effort. I mean, that's the worst part. It's not lack of talent. It's effort. That's horrible. It's inexcusable.
They just don't seem like they have any heart or grit. And I don't understand when you come to Philadelphia, that's what you need to play here. All them Knicks fans, and it's just ridiculous. People just don't care. I mean, how can you sell your tickets? You know what I mean? I mean, it's just crazy.
They want to make a lot of money, and the Knicks fans are willing to pay for it. And I don't agree with it. I don't like that they're doing it, but that's why the people are selling it.
I know, but it still doesn't make it right. It's just crazy because, I mean, but them guys, man, let me tell you, Embiid been on one leg. This whole series, he's on one leg, and he can't get no help. 5 minutes, and nobody does a field goal.
Wait a minute, though. No, Edith. Edith, what about the fourth quarter, though?
I know.
You gotta get more than one rebound. You're the biggest man on the court. You're not going up against an opposing center. I mean, seriously.
I but still. I mean, he's played his heart out, y'all.
I didn't
And
see that in the fourth quarter. I did not see that.
He's probably hurt. I'm telling you right now, that knee is never. I mean, he's going.
Well, yeah, and to your point, Edith, and to your point, we appreciate the call. Always love hearing from you, Edith. Is that he had to play 44 minutes because his backup option was unplayable.
I think it would have been Nick Nurse is screwed either way.
Yeah. You either
If he
play
sits
Paul
Embiid-
Reed and he's exposed, or you play Joel Embiid for 44 minutes and he might be cooked coming
But you
fourth
can't
quarter.
play and then be, I want to play 44 minutes and then be, well, wait a minute, though, but he was hurt.
Right.
Like, you can't do that. And that fourth quarter, like, he's playing his heart out. I didn't see that in the fourth quarter.
Let's go to Bob in Pemberton. Bob, you're on the Fanatic.
How you doing? We just finished watching me and my son, LeBron James, play Denver. Yo, he's one of the top 5 players in the league.
Still. Yep.
He's driving. Yo, they're fouling him, and the refs won't blow the whistle because he's LeBron. They were fouled. He got fouled at least 5 times on drives last night. They didn't blow the whistle. They still can't be stopped. Now, if you put him with Embiid and Maxey, I don't care who else is on the team. We the number 1 seed.
Okay.
We the best team. Boston can't stop that. Boston's not better than that. Boston has nobody who can guard LeBron James.
Bob,
today.
can I ask you seriously, though? Do you think LeBron's better than Embiid?
Embiid, no.
Do you think he's better than Giannis?
No.
Do you think he's better than Jokic? Because I'm just to 3.
Skill set wise,
he's not a top 5 player in the. He's not better than Anthony Edwards. He's not a top 5 player anymore. He's a hell of a player, and I'm not trying to dismiss him because I think he's one of the greatest
Fine.
I ever saw.
Give me top 10, and that means I have 2 top 10 players with LeBron James and Joel Embiid. Thanks for the call, Bob. I have 2 top 10 players, and then I have a rising star in Tyrese Maxey, by all accounts.
I think 10 is pushing it. I really do. I think 10's pushing it.
15.
Okay.
I still have a more talented roster.
Nobody.
And then,
again,
by
nobody
the way,
would argue
the
that.
aura of LeBron James, it's not also just play. It's maturity. It's professionalism. It's also probably attracting free agents.
I've never believed that somebody is going to infuse into other grown men.
We'll continue this. I think you can. We'll continue this conversation. Keyword coming your way next for your chance to win $1,000. Also, today's headlines with Connor Thomas and your reaction. If you don't want LeBron James, I think you are crazy. Sorry, John. I think you're crazy. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Sixers season on.
Perfect.
PRECISE, precise to 45911, or you can enter it on the Fanatic app or 975thefanatic.com. One winner selected at random won $1,000 in this company-wide contest. Winners will get a call from Beasley, so be sure to answer your phone. Complete rules at 975thefanatic.com. 975 The Fanatic signing bonus is presented by Rand Stier, the accident lawyer. Demand Rand for justice. Please never text and drive. Good luck.
This is Kincade and Salciunas, Philadelphia Sports Talk. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Is that precise or precious?
Precise.
No, I'm just saying. Thinking of the game the other day.
What? Oh,
I'm
Precious
thinking of
Precious Achua.
I just wanted to clarify.
No, it's precise.
Stuck in my head.
It is precise. No,
Precious.
Not Precious because.
You wouldn't name your son Precious?
I mean, look, whatever.
It was Precious or Cooper?
Whatever the parents want to do, man. He became an NBA basketball player.
Really?
Maybe it motivated him more.
It might have motivated him a little bit more.
By the way, check out the Fanatic deal of the week. The Von C. Brewing Company. Love these deals. Get a taste of Philly brewing history with the Fanatic deal of the week. This week only get a $50 gift card for Von C. Brewing Company in Norristown for just $25. Get this exclusive offer while supplies last at 975thefanatic.com/deals. We have today's headlines with Connor Thomas coming up in a few minutes, coming up at 8:05. And also, after today's headlines, I want to bring up something that was addressed on the midday show with Bob Cooney. And
always
you agree with Bob Cooney when it comes to this sentiment. But Connor Thomas was brought up on the midday show yesterday.
Okay.
And I'm not siding with Connor, but I don't blame Connor for the feeling that he has. And it's kind of what we talked about today about how much emotion we're putting into tonight.
Okay.
How much emotional stock we're putting into tonight. Because Bob talked about something, and you talked about something about, well, that's being a fan. But I think this situation with the Sixers and what we've dealt with for over a decade or almost a decade now is a little bit different. When Joel Embiid had his comments about the fans the other day, when he said, I've been here for 10 years, don't you go, oh, my God.
No, it shocked me.
You've been here for 10 years? Now, obviously, the first 2 seasons he didn't play because of the injury, but you sit back and you remember, holy hell, he's been here for a decade, dude.
And what is, in 8 of those years, he was healthy, right? Like, I mean, he played. In
the first 2 years he didn't play a second.
So he's been here 10 years.
His rookie year he played, I think it was 31 games, something like that.
Yeah.
That was the fun month of January. Yeah, but still, I mean, I can't believe that he was drafted 10 years ago.
I can't believe it either.
Which is amazing. So how much emotional stock are you putting into tonight's game? Are you going to allow yourself to get sucked in? Connor will watch with zero emotion tonight, and I don't blame him. I will, and I'm going to be angry if they lose, and I'm going to be fired up if they win, because that's who I am. But I don't blame anybody for feeling the way that Connor feels. There are people checking in on social media saying that they're not even going to watch tonight. So we would love to hear from you. Are you watching? And if so, how emotional are you going to get about this game? You can climb in on the phone lines or text lines, 610-632-0975. Also, LeBron James, he was asked last night after they lost their series to the Nuggets, did you play your last game in a Lakers uniform? He didn't want to answer the question. But that leads to me asking, if he is available, would you want the Sixers to go after LeBron James? And I'll follow up by saying, if you don't, I think you're crazy. And I say that out of love,
It's okay.
John.
I'm just saying to you is that, no, the thing is that, but you're not phrasing the question fairly. Everybody, there is no one would argue with you. If they brought LeBron James here, Sixers have a better chance to win it.
They have a better chance, yes.
There's nobody that would argue with you that it wouldn't be highly entertaining. So everybody's on the same page there. Is it about winning a championship, or is it about that? Now, my buddy Jared's saying to me, it's about your city needs a moment. Your city needs to get over that hump. And LeBron's a guy who could get you over that hump.
That hump is getting into the Eastern
winning
Conference
a championship is not.
I don't know. But my chances are better.
Your chances are absolutely better.
My chances are so much better.
Are your chances better than when you were number one seed a few years ago? No.
I would say my chances with LeBron James are better than with Ben Simmons, even when they were a 1 seed.
Okay.
It's not even close.
Okay.
LeBron James is the second greatest player in the history of the NBA, if not the greatest, depending on what side of the argument you are.
He's first, but okay.
No, second, but
depending
it's okay.
on what side of the argument you are on. And, oh, by the way, at the age of 39, what will be 40 next season, he is still playing at a higher level than a lot of players in the NBA.
He is.
I would take 50-year-old LeBron James over prime Tobias Harris.
I bet you hear people with the hyperbole. He's the top 5 player in the NBA right now. No, he's not. I don't believe he's the top 10 player in the NBA right now. I think he's a hell of a player, and I would be here for it, to be entertained by it. Do I think it would bring me a parade? No.
It very well could. All right, it's time now for today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Hello, Connor.
Hey, guys.
I'm working with a lunatic.
I mean, you don't have to tell me. LeBron, the GOAT, I would love to have him here. When you get a chance to get the greatest basketball player of all time, you kind of have to do it. But anyway.
Even on a farewell tour.
That's not the subject of today's headlines. We'll be back to that in a second.
He's not Peter Forsberg. You're bringing in LeBron, who's still averaging 25, 8, and 7.
This is not today's LeBron James. This is today's
I'm not
headlines.
getting 1 year of Jaromir Jagr.
Zip it. We've got a lost alligator we got to find.
Oh, my God.
I don't know if you guys seen this. Do you guys know who Wally the Gator is?
Yes, I do. And that guy, take better care of your gator, Mr. Oh, the Phillies didn't let me bring in an alligator.
It's that gator?
Yes.
It's that gator.
Okay,
he
what
lost
happened?
his gator.
That alligator lives down in Florida, and there was a post from the Wally Gator account saying that Wally has been stolen. He's been taken.
Somebody
we don't know.
stole his gator?
Apparently, there's someone who likes to, for practical jokes, take alligators and put them in people's yards. And he took Wally. So now Wally's lost.
Well, because he makes it well known that he has an emotional alligator, so he puts himself on the map. I have spoken with people, and I think somebody that may work as a part of the show, that he demands lots of money for him to bring the gator around. I thought he's your emotional support alligator.
I remember that. I remember that, yes.
Oh, wait, I thought he was your emotional support alligator, but you're now asking for money to bring him around. Okay, interesting. And then you cried because the Phillies didn't let you bring a freaking alligator to Citizens Bank Park.
He got the attention he wanted.
But he's a really good alligator. Okay, my dog's a really good dog, and when Cooper pulls her tail, she gets a little upset. What if a little kid goes up to the alligator, and maybe the parent's in line for Chickies and Pete's and doesn't realize that their kid saw a gator and ran after it, and then chomp, chomp, chomp. No more baby.
Be nice to Wally.
No, that guy, I don't like that guy. I've never met him. I don't like him.
Wow.
Take better care of your gator. Stop asking for money.
Where did it get stolen from, though?
He's down in Florida, yeah. So he just had it in the yard, I guess, or whatever. I don't know. So if you see an alligator that's very friendly, that would never bite children and would love a baseball game, please return
that guy,
to...
It just bothers me. It's like you said, he got the attention that he wanted.
It's like the people who bring on planes, they don't want to put their dog, travel their dog, so they bring them on and say, I got a thing from a doctor that says it's an emotional support dog. I have sat next to a golden retriever that was not an emotional support dog.
I got a better idea. Don't make your dog go on a plane. Whether they're in the
Exactly.
cargo bin or sitting with you, they probably don't like it.
I'd be chilling with an alligator.
Or stay
on the plane.
home.
I'd have no issue. All right, we're also looking for something else that's been missing. Where's Sir Anthony Dominguez's ability to pitch gone? This was from last night's game.
That one gets by Stubbs. We'll go back to the screen. They flip to Sir Anthony. It's over his head, and here comes Trout. Like a freight train, he's coming in. 2-run score on the wild pitch. 6-4 L.A.
2 more earned runs yesterday for Sir Anthony Dominguez, which increases his ERA this year to 9.58.
But keep going to him, Topper.
Yeah, that was a
Keep
bad
going
decision.
to him, Topper. He's had some. I tell you, his management of a pitching staff.
Well, my
is
guess
just poor.
Here's my guess early on. We need to try to get this guy right.
Yep.
We don't want to go away from him. If we go away from him, that might hurt his confidence, so we're going to keep going to him. But also keeping going to him might hurt his confidence as well. Now, his last outing against the Padres, he pitched a shutout inning, got a strikeout, didn't walk anybody, didn't give up any hits. So maybe you go, all right, maybe he found it again. And then last night happens. The only problem is everybody keeps on saying send him down. They can't.
He doesn't have an option. He'd have to clear waivers. Sir Anthony Dominguez is not clearing waivers. I don't care if he does $1 billion ERA.
No, he would not clear waivers.
So you can't send him down.
No, so you just got to kind of wear this.
You don't have to use him, though, the way they use him.
No, the way you use him, you don't have to. So he's your mop-up guy.
He could be the mop-up guy, right.
Right.
And the thing is that, Rob, we need you to have some feel. We need you to have some feel. And I think he's not getting it.
Well, I think he realizes that it's April, and he wants to try to fix this
And I
guy.
think that's what he's trying to do, yes.
Right. You have the opportunity to try things at this
They don't
point.
have the option to do what they did with Alvarado, which is, I think, confuses a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah, you can't send
Because
him
everybody
down.
says, just send him down like you did Alvarado.
No,
Teach him a
can't do
cutter.
it.
It doesn't yet.
Well, a chance that you're going to be getting a new arm in the bullpen anyway when they decide who they're moving out for Taijuan Walker, so we'll see how that goes. But we're going to wrap up with something else that happened yesterday that leads us back into a conversation you guys had earlier.
Jokic a screen, Murray to try to break the tie.
No timeout by the Lakers. They got to go.
James, a bump, a feed, a push shot. No! Zero's on the clock. The Nuggets advance. They have won. And the defense of their championship title is alive and well.
Harlan.
Yeah, he's
great.
I love
God,
Kevin
he's
Harlan.
so
Kevin
good.
Harlan
He's
so
amazing.
much, man.
He's so good. On anything he does, he's good.
I would take him over so many play-by-play people.
But more importantly, would you take the way that the Denver Nuggets have built their team over so many franchises? Because they've done it a different way than teams have done in the past. There's been no, star hunting. There's been no wait for LeBron. They've built it kind of the way of have these guys, keep them together for a while, and hope it works out.
But here's the thing. So, John, you talk about rebuilding the correct way, right?
Yes.
You can make the case the Nuggets are doing it a correct way. They also have a generational talent that they got in the second round. Building also comes with luck, right? You want to talk about whether,
absolutely
whether or
comes
not
with
you
luck.
liked the Sixers' plan, you have to admit, unlucky for Markelle Fultz to all of a sudden forget how to shoot a basketball. Ben Simmons, should they have done maybe more due diligence? You've talked about.
And they didn't do it.
Your buddy Shaq.
No, they
right?
did not. He tried.
Right. Feeling it, obviously there may have been some issues with Ben Simmons coming out of college. But for him to completely fall out of love of basketball, Markelle Fultz forget how to shoot, the injuries that Joel Embiid has sustained his entire career, that's also bad luck. The Nuggets lucked into Nikola Jokic, a second-round pick, becoming a two-time, maybe three-time, at some point, three-time MVP.
Absolutely.
That's a little lucky.
It is, and then they have to do the right things. You got to get 4 or 5 guys beyond him, though,
right,
to win a title.
And they drafted Michael Porter Jr. with, if you remember, he had back issues coming out of college, so that was
He slipped.
That was a risky pick.
Right.
And they acquired him, and luckily for them, he has remained healthy.
I think they got Porter Jr. very similar to the way the Sixers got Maxey. If Maxey had gotten more exposure, Maxey doesn't go 22.
Michael Porter Jr. did get exposure. It was the injury.
No, but I mean, the same type of
he
thing.
missed, his entire final year of college?
It was the last year of college, I believe.
And he fell, I think it was to 10 that they got him. Whereas he could have been a top 5 player had he remained healthy.
He would have easily been.
And that was the risk of drafting Michael Porter Jr. So they got lucky that he has remained healthy. They are lucky that that player has turned into a reliable 3 on a team, whereas Tobias Harris is a guy that you can't even count on. So, yes, have they built it? Did they tank? No, they
didn't tank.
They didn't tank. But did they get lucky with the?
No, they did get lucky.
They got very lucky.
They did get some lucky, and lucky can play into things. I think every team has things that are part of luck that help them. Every championship has a luck.
Absolutely.
I think the Eagles championship had 2 lucky things happen to them minimum in the postseason,
2?
and that's not even mentioning
200.
No, I'm saying
200.
no,
Yeah.
that they didn't control. I think getting there. So I mean, there's things that happen.
So the Sixers can try to go about that approach, or they can try it one more time. And by trying it one more time, it's acquiring LeBron James.
It is. I believe we will see the same results will happen. We won't get what we want.
I don't think they lose in the second round, LeBron James. I don't think they lose to
guaranteed conference finals.
Yes, I don't think they lose to an inferior team. Think about it. Let's say LeBron's on the team when they play the Hawks.
No, I get.
They're not losing that series.
No.
They're not losing this series. If LeBron James is on this team, they are not losing to the New York Knicks.
This series is 3-1.
Sixers.
Probably if LeBron's
Sixers up
on it.
3-1.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
are
I'd
not.
give you that.
So then they get to the second round.
They're
and
not
then,
beating Boston.
And then they play the Indiana Pacers, and they beat the Pacers, and then they get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
And that is what my buddy's telling me, saying, your city needs a moment. You do it for the moment.
You yourself
do
have
it to
said
be able
you
to get
just want to end that conversation.
I would love to. I just don't, but I don't believe that is there's to me, I don't believe it's the right way. I think we're just going to be keep on saying, well, we can do this. Because what am I expecting? I'm expecting a crappy Paul George gift under my tree. That's what I'm expecting.
So then wouldn't you
This
rather have
summer's-
LeBron?
But I don't think it's happening for one thing. But it's the idea. But hypothetically, it'd be great. It'd be much better because I truly believe we're going to get another year of kick the can, and it's going to be, but we're bringing in Paul George, name brand, and it's going to be the same crap next spring.
I have a question kind of on this. So let's say they bring in LeBron, right? And let's say they don't win. What difference does rebuilding in 2 years from now make compared to rebuilding now?
Okay, would you say, now you are like Andrew, you guarantee they're in the conference finals if he comes here?
I'm not going to guarantee anything with this team because I think they're cursed. Like I think LeBron will come here and forget how to play basketball.
That's what I'm sort of saying.
He'll be Bronny James.
But I'll tell you this.
Right, but
if Andrew's premise that next year they brought in LeBron, they get to a conference final and they play hard and lose a series to a team, I would absolutely say in retrospect, damn, that was worth it.
Yes.
I don't believe that would happen.
Let's say it doesn't.
Then I think it was
what's the waste?
To me, it's just another year you could have gone because there is a way that if you the sooner you get on with doing something, the sooner you rip a Band-Aid off and say, okay, this isn't working, the better off you would be.
Right, but you're giving up years to do the rebuild.
No, there's going to be. I don't consider.
It would be dark days in Philadelphia, when it comes to the Sixers.
It would be dark. It would be dark, absolutely dark. You would have to make a commitment until the Sixers make a commitment like the Flyers did to say, we're actually acknowledging we have to do this.
They did do that. And you didn't really love it last time.
No, they did not. The Flyers did not go. Flyers put a credible product on the ice in their first year of a rebuild.
Maybe they shouldn't have.
and they leaned on younger players and developed younger players that they got more out of younger players by putting it there and putting some credible team around.
But here's the problem. Look, there's no guarantees in anything when it comes to sports.
No, but I like your premise. I would agree with you if it happens.
I have a better chance with LeBron James than not just to win. I would say I have a better chance with LeBron James to win than whatever team they rebuild.
I don't agree with that.
All right, so you're getting Tyrese Maxey, and you have to depend on the Daryl Morey and the Sixers organization to find these guys, diamond in the rough players. You have to depend on them to draft well. They're going to have to draft. By the way, they don't have any picks, so they're going to.
And by the way, I do not trust that what your premise there either.
Okay.
Like I don't trust.
So what
that
do you
Daryl Morey's
trust
going
more?
to be that guy?
The Sixers acquiring LeBron James to hopefully win something, or the Sixers with Daryl Morey to rebuild the team with the lack of picks that they have, by the way. And then they're going to – and, oh, by the way, it's not like college basketball is good anymore. So you're going to have to find these guys that are playing in the G League that are going right from high school to the G League. You know there's probably immaturity issues with all these guys. You know, I would have more faith in 2 years of LeBron than a 5-year rebuild.
How about this? I'll use another F word and a good one.
Uh-oh.
I would have more fun with your premise.
Absolutely.
Than the idea of sitting through a rebuild. But I truly believe that until they commit to that, we're not going to see change. We're not going to see difference.
Let's go to Mike and Delran on this. Michael, what's going on, man? Good morning.
What's up, Mikey?
What's up, guys? I was looking forward to watching the game tonight. I was going to put my heart into it, but after listening to this for the last 30 minutes, I just want the season to be over. LeBron James, did he just get swept in the first round?
No, they lost in 5.
He did.
No, 5. They did win.
To the defending NBA champions, by the way.
The second best player in the league got a game. Good job. Listen, well, he don't want to come here. He's had 2 other opportunities in the last decade, and he didn't come here. If you're LeBron James and you're playing in this league anymore, you're doing it to win a championship. And if that's the case, he's taking the less amount of money he can, and he'll go play for a team that can win. We're worried about doing a rebuild again. This team has been this team for 10 years with Embiid is 25% of my life. 25% of my life has been this.
Yep.
The process was a failure. You talk about unlucky with Embiid's injuries, with Markelle Fultz, with Ben Simmons. How about with Tristan Tobias over Butler, with our GM having a burner phone, with Brandon Mikal Bridges that traded him? Why would LeBron James want to come here? He doesn't want to get a team out of the second round. That's what we'd be excited for. He wants to win a championship. It's time to blow it up, guys. There isn't another decade era in sports in this city where we would have had the patience of 10 years of this. I'm tired of it. Go Birds!
Thank you for the call, Michael.
That was incredible passion. I did.
Incredible.
I truly.
He doesn't
believe
call from the car, does he? Because I'd be terrified if he was behind the wheel yelling like that.
No, I think he is. I think he was in the car.
I think he's going to pass out.
And
By
I
the
think
way,
he was driving the kids to school.
Great tweet from Matt Wilson in response to whether or not people are going to be emotionally invested tonight.
Okay.
He thinks it's going to be higher than 10 to 20% of people that aren't watching tonight.
Wow.
But he says this. For those who are watching, I think 80 to 90% of the fan base isn't looking forward to it.
I can't tell you that I'm anxious about it.
You're not. It's not like you're watching, but you're not looking forward to it.
I'm not anxious in a good way. I'm anxious in a bad way. Like, what am I going to say?
I think Matt's onto something. I don't think there's a Sixers fan that's going, can't wait for tonight's game.
Line it up, baby.
I don't think so.
I agree with you. We'll give Matt.
You know who does look forward to tonight's game, and she always brings a smile to our faces. Kate Scott, voice of your Philadelphia 76ers from NBC Sports Philadelphia. She'll join the show coming your way next. We'd love to get more of your calls and texts on this LeBron James conversation and also the Sixers game tonight. Are you going to be emotionally invested in tonight's game? You can climb on the phone lines with the text line, 610-632-0975. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Speaking of 97.5 The Fanatic, head to 97.5thefanatic.com and enter for a chance to win $2,000 from Mom in the Mother's Day Nationwide contest sponsored by Pilates Florist. Make Mom's Mother's Day special with beautiful flowers from Pilates Florist. Now with 3 locations to serve you. Visit pilatesflorist.com. Sixers Knicks tonight, game 5. Sixers down 3-1 in this series. Madison Square Garden, you win. Game 6 will be Thursday night. You lose, there will be a lot of things to talk about.
There will be.
Unfortunately.
I'm not, you see, part of it, too, is I'm not looking forward to doing that show.
No, not at all. Not even remotely close, because I know what the conversations will be, and I don't want to have them, damn it. Well, let's head to the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward to what's next. From NBC Sports Philadelphia, the voice of your Philadelphia 76ers, Kate Scott. Kate, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Let's not do that then.
I like that.
No, I don't want to have those conversations at all. But
yeah, you guys sound really perturbed by this. I don't want you to have to do that show either. So let's not. Let's just figure out a way not to do that.
Let's see if we can tonight.
Yeah, let's see if they can get a win tonight. Now, Kate, I'll start off by saying this. I never question heart, effort. Oh, he's mentally soft, because I don't know. I haven't spoken to these players man to man, right?
Yeah.
But this is the first time, probably since I was like a little boy, and now that I'm I'm mature now, that I've questioned effort in a series, and I've now questioned it twice in game 1 and 4 when it came to rebounding and hustle plays. Tobias Harris himself pointed out that the Knicks won the hustle plays in game 4, which that's part of the reason why you lost. Can you get into that as to why that may be? Is it just because the Knicks, that's who they are? Or is it that the Sixers aren't that team?
Well, yeah, and that's something that I've been kind of rolling around in my brain the last couple of days too, Shunas, because that really is what it's going to come down to again tonight, right? I mean, obviously you got to hit shots in the final 5 minutes, and it'd be great if Campaign or Nico or somebody on the bench could get going. Like, we all have dissected this enough at this point to know the other things that need to happen. But I think we also know that it's going to come down to, hopefully, the last few minutes again, like it has multiple times already this series, and who wants it more. And I don't think it's a zero-sum game. So I don't think it's like you want it and I don't at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's times where you think you want something, and then somebody else goes and gets it, and you're like, oh, wow, okay, I thought I wanted it, but I need to want it even more than I already wanted it. Like, I'm thinking back to a couple of loose balls. I forget what game they were in because they've all blended together at this point because they've been so intense. But a couple of Sixers were looking at each other, and then a Knick dove on the ground. And, like, that cannot happen tonight.
Right.
You want to, and you thinking this is enough, you can't question that. You just have to give absolutely everything and hope that it is more than the Knicks want to tonight. Because I don't think it's the Knicks want it and the Sixers don't. I think that there have been very important small moments in the 4 games thus far where a Knick or two have decided, I don't care what happens to my body. I don't care if I get my teeth knocked out. I am getting this mother blanking rebound, and that's that. And tonight, every time that happens, every 50-50 ball, you guys know, every single moment, because that's what it's going to come down to, a moment or two again tonight. The Sixers just have to say, okay, I thought I wanted it enough in the first 4 games. Obviously, I need to want it more, and let me show that to you now.
Is there a reason to believe, though, that a team flips a switch and all of a sudden can do that? Because we always talk about how big the rebounding is or how big fourth quarter moments are. Is this team mentally ready for big fourth quarter moments? We got to ask after what we've seen so far.
Yeah, totally. And I think we're going to find out the answer to that tonight, John. And I'm sure you guys have broken this down as well. It's been discussed the last few days, right? In the final few minutes of the game the other night, or the other afternoon, Nick and the team was in a matchup zone, which makes it that much more difficult to get a body on a man and block out and do all the things that are necessary before or kind of as the shot is going up. You guys know, and I'm sure so many listeners do, there's so much more to rebounding than want to is a big part of it, no doubt about that. But little things like just getting a leg in front of a guy a second before the shot hits the rim, right? So that's why smaller guys like a Kyle Lowry or like a Josh Hart for the Knicks can sometimes get rebounds over bigger guys because there's so much more. So I think that Nick and this staff have shown me throughout the year that they are great at adjustments. Obviously, Tom Thibodeau is as well, with how he switched up the defense in the fourth quarter with both of his big guys on the bench. So I think we'll find out the answer tonight, John, but I definitely think it's possible.
And to that point, to John's question and to what you just talked about, Kate, last game, what really bothered me is that I saw Josh Hart finish with 4 points, right? He made 4 free throws. That's all he did. But he grabbed 17 rebounds. He was a guy where his offensive game didn't make him struggle in other areas. I use the baseball reference. How many times have you seen a hitter go 0 for 4, but then also made an error in the field because they took their frustration out onto the field and they made mistakes that way? I don't see certain players on the Sixers where if their offensive game isn't going well, they're going to try to do something else at a higher level to try to make up for their offensive woes. And that's one of the things that really bothered me most about Game 4 is that I see a guy struggling offensively, but he said, screw it, I'm going to grab 17 rebounds and try to find a way to help. Whereas I may see some players on the Sixers struggling offensively, and that's going to mess them up for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and I think, Tunis, that's the difference. And this can go to baseball, this can go to every sport, but we're talking hoops, obviously. That, to me, is the difference between good players and great players. That is the difference between, okay, man, I really wanted 12 and 6 tonight, but points aren't working, so I guess I'll just kind of settle in and I'll keep communicating on defense, but I guess the points aren't going to come, and let you take that out of the game. Where the great players, and I know it's early in his career, but I know all you Nova fans know that Josh Hart has the potential to be a great player. You look at the things you wanted to do for yourself on a night, and you realize that that's not happening, and then you step back and say, okay, but this could be so much more if I put everything I have into every other aspect of this game and help us get a victory, because it's playoff basketball. So, yes, the individual numbers, the 47 from Brunson, the 50 from Embiid are great. But, look, Brunson had a great game in Game 3, and nobody's going to be remembering that because the Sixers won that game. So in playoff basketball, to me, this is what separates the good players and the great players. When things may not be going your way in the one category that you wish they were, and then you step back and you say, okay, well, screw it. Shot's not falling tonight. What else can I do to help us get the only thing that is going to matter to this team and this city and this franchise, and that's the victory tonight? Okay, it's rebounding. I'm going to do that. Guys, Jalen's going to take care of the scoring tonight. Maybe Miles is going to hit another shot. I'm going to come in and grab every freaking rebound I can. And to me, that's why Josh Hart has a potential to one day soon be a great player in the NBA. And the question is, as you just kind of posed in your question, which Sixer or which Sixers want to do that tonight? Because plenty of them have that potential, but we all know potential can be a great word or it can be a bad word for those who step up to the plate and fulfill that potential, and those who just leave it as potential.
Kate, the rebounding conversation, it seems that the Knicks have that clear advantage, whether it's ability to rebound or just the will to grab a rebound. What advantage have you seen so far through 4 games that the Sixers have had over the Knicks, where they can focus on that aspect of the game and they could let's just make this the best thing that we could possibly do, and we can beat the Knicks this way?
Joel Embiid. Is that an advantage? Can we go to a Joel Embiid? Because, yeah, that's, I think, the difficult thing, in that you want to look for another category. Okay, maybe it's bench scoring. No, but that hasn't been an advantage. Okay, well, it should be fast break points, because usually the Knicks are a slower team. Nope, they seem to be toe-to-toe with us in that category as well. So I was looking back at Game 3, and really, what has been the difference? Joel Embiid. Did they play him too much in the second half? I know you guys have been chewing on that for the last couple of days. And how big was Cam Payne's second quarter in Game 3 to help Joel Embiid be able to take those extra minutes that then allowed him to be the Joel that was the deciding factor in Game 3 in the second half? So I know it's probably a weird thing, but he is, out of everybody, I know after Game 2 we brought up we're the better team. I think that's a debate that could go on for a long time at this point. But who is the best player on both teams? In my opinion, it is Joel Embiid. So the Sixers have to do everything they can tonight, since they have built this team around him, to emphasize and utilize all of his strengths. And that is going to mean that Tyrese is going to have to score. That is going to mean that Tobias and Kyle are going to have to hit some open shots to open things up for Joel, right? We know how different the game looks when he's not double and triple teamed, because teams can't, because other guys have come up and made themselves threats. So Joel, to me, is the difference. We got to keep feeding the beast tonight. Somebody on the bench, and a couple of the starters as well, need to step up to make themselves at least a credible threat that you can't just completely sag off of them from the three-point line.
Do you know
and
who?
Then let the big fella go to work. Do I know who? Go ahead.
Do you know who's working the game tonight from an official standpoint? And do you look at that and sometimes wonder what kind of game you're going to be broadcasting?
I'm not there yet, John, but I do know other people I work with certainly look at that. Let me see if I can pull up who is working the game tonight. They usually issue the referee assignments at this point in the morning. But you know, it's interesting because I think there's certain officials, and I would put this question back in to you guys, John. There's certain officials I think during the regular season, like the old heads that we all know, right? The Tony Brothers, the Ed Malloys, the Scott Fosters, and you're kind of like, okay, here we go. But they have the most playoff experience, and I think sometimes in the playoffs you need that, because I thought in Game 2 when things got crazy at the end of the game, didn't have those guys, right? And I think that sometimes when you've seen the madness that is a playoff basketball game at a Madison Square Garden where everything is sensory overload. The fans are on top of you. It's just the intensity at the end of Game 2 was unmatched. So I think you need officials who have been there before so that they are able to remain calm and keep their composure and remember the really important things they need to do in those wild moments. Doesn't look like I have the referee assignments just yet, John. So
well, we'll keep an eye on it.
Can't break any news there.
Kate, you're the best. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks, and let's go Sixers.
Thanks, Kate.
Thanks for having me, guys. Rebound the basketball. Want it more.
Please.
Let's go Sixers.
Let's go Sixers. There's Kate Scott on the Comcast Business Hotline. Thanks, Kate. All right, coming up next, I have a question that I'm going to ask you guys, and it's a question that I asked before Game 3. We said before Game 3 that we would learn a lot about this Sixers team, this franchise, and individual players.
Yes.
It went great. And Embiid dropped 50. He backed up what he said after Game 2.
And then
they lose Game 4. This one is on the brink of elimination. What do we learn tonight? We'll discuss that next, the three of us. But I really want to hear from Sixers fans about this as we continue the show. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now, a 76ers playoff update.
Perfect.
Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic. It is Game 5 day. Notice, like, when it was, like, the day of Game 2, I was, like, fired up. Game 3, I was fired up. Game 5, I'm just like, all right, it's Game 5 today. Let's hope for the best. Let's hope they extend the series. So I have a question for you guys, and I want to hear from Sixers fans, either on the text line or the phone line, 610-632-0975. And we'll revisit this LeBron James conversation in the 9 o'clock hour as well. I asked you guys before Game 3 whether or not we would, well, you actually were the one that posed it, and then we brought up on the air about whether or not we will learn who this Sixers team is. And Joel Embiid backed up what he said after Game 2. We're the better team. We're going to win the series. He drops 50. Kelly Oubre had a very good game that night. Tyrese Maxey had a very good game that night. A lot of players contributed except Tobias Harris, shockingly. And then Game 4 happened. So now you're on the brink of elimination.
Yes.
The last time they were on the brink of elimination, they didn't show up to the game. That was Game 7 of the series against the Boston Celtics last year. They did not show up.
Which is the worst thing ever.
Like, yeah, it's hard.
A Game 7 to not show up.
Inexcusable. They didn't even show up.
They did not.
So, do they show up tonight? Question 1. Do they show up tonight?
This isn't the Boston Celtics in
Game
the Garden.
7? Okay.
They show up.
They show up.
They show up. It's not as intimidating to play the Knicks.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It shouldn't be.
Plus, you've shown you could win. You could have won every game in this series.
Now, let me ask this question. Kate said you have to go all out tonight, right? Die for loose balls. Do they do that tonight?
Can you imagine that she even has to say it?
It's horrible.
But we've watched this series, and the Knicks. It's not a cliche to say the Knicks want it more. They've shown you they want it more.
It's not a cliche.
It is not. They've shown the better effort. They've shown the better fight. They've shown to have more attitude.
That's why they're up 3-1.
So I mean,
the Sixers are more talented.
But the fact that it disgusts me.
Yeah.
That we have to say, well, the Sixers have to be diving for loose balls tonight and be more aggressive.
It's the playoffs.
It's the freaking playoffs, and we have to say that there's something wrong in whether it's. Bob did a great job yesterday. Bob and Amy yesterday talking about the franchise and sort of about the franchise's DNA. Is it a winning organization? It's not. It's absolutely not. And the only way that happens is by changing something, changing the culture or otherwise. Now, going, you can change culture by how you play and how you perform, and maybe let's say they won the series. That could be this could be a culture-changing moment for the series.
It could be
for the franchise.
You go to the Garden.
Go
to the Garden, you win,
and then you come back home,
and
you win. Like, I mean, that could change the culture of this franchise.
Right. If they lose tonight,
it could reinforce what we already think.
We're going to point out a lot of things. So I would love to hear from you guys. 610-632-0975. Do we learn something tonight, and what is it that we learned tonight? I learned that Joel Embiid, when their backs were up against the wall, down 2-0, he was able to uplift his play and drop 50. But the last time I saw Joel Embiid in an elimination game, he did not show up. He didn't. The only guy that did is a guy that I crush all the time, and that's Tobias Harris. He's the only guy that showed up to that Game 7 last year. Everyone else disappeared. Do we find out something about this Sixers team tonight? I want to get...
The most important person I need to find something about tonight, though, is not Embiid. It's Maxey.
Yeah, look,
Maxey was a part of that crime scene last year.
Yes, and he's going to be a max player next year.
I need to see tonight. I need to see Tyrese Maxey going out with the guts of a burglar.
All right, I want to hear what Connor has to say about this, but I also want to hear from you. 610-632-0975, phone line or text line. Do we learn something about this Sixers team tonight, and what is it? Because it could be, hey, we learned that they still have fight in them, they force a Game 6, or do they lay down? And the series is over, and then there's a lot more questions that need to be asked. And if they do lay down, sign LeBron. LeBron James, if he is available, and you say no, I think you're crazy. Crazy! But if you believe no, tell me why. Try to explain, and maybe I'll hear you out. Maybe I won't. You can call in or text in 610-632-0975. And also, how emotionally invested are you in tonight's game? We've got another hour left to play on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
on 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, so professionalism, going to keep moving forward, even though we just fell off a cliff.
Move forward.
The Sixers, Game 5 is tonight. I have a lot of Sixers questions that we've been throwing your way throughout the show. We'll continue that. But real quick, I'm sure this intrigues you. Mel Kiper gave his grade for every NFC East team in the draft.
Okay.
And I know you sent us something from The Athletic, your boy, the Bugler.
Yeah.
Dane
Brugler.
Fourth best draft?
Fourth best draft.
Mel Kiper, NFC East. He gave the Cowboys a B-, the Giants a B, Commanders A-, and the Eagles a top grade of an A. I don't see how you can dislike the Eagles draft.
There is no way to dislike this draft.
Like, I understand. So we had Jeff McClain on earlier today, and we asked him for his thoughts on the draft, and his immediate answer was, we don't know until a couple years once these guys play. And I understand.
By the way, I understand Jeff's answer with that. I hate that answer.
But based off of what you saw over the weekend, and if you're doing an on-paper evaluation, which that's all that we have so far, I believe the Eagles had a tremendous draft. It could end up being terrible. They might all stink, right? But right now, all I know is all the football people, the GMs, the people that cover the draft, the people that evaluate the talent, the people that speak to the GMs, that speak to the scouts, they had Quinyon Mitchell as a top half player.
They did.
They got him at 22. There were a lot of people that had Cooper DeJean going in the top half of the draft. They got him in the second round. I celebrate that. And then I thought the rest of the draft I thought it was a very strategic draft by the Eagles. There were positions that we needed them to draft, and they drafted them.
And one thing is, I do not believe for 1 second that Howie Roseman and the Eagles went in thinking, we're addressing the secondary with our first 2 picks. I think Cooper DeJean just fell to them.
Yeah.
And then they made the move to go up and to go get him. And I applaud it. I love the fact that
Howie straight up said he kind of realized after day one what he could do. Like, he knew what he could do. If Cooper DeJean gets drafted in the first round, the story's over.
Story's over,
He
and I
falls
believe
in the second round.
And I believe the entire Eagles plan changes.
Yes.
And that's one of the things. I don't believe that they would have then said, let's go find the best safety prospect. Let's go best. But you know what this did tell me? And it's something I thought of yesterday.
What did it tell you?
It told me that Howie is admitting that he wishes he had taken a safety a couple years ago when he had the opportunity to draft a all-pro safety.
Yeah.
In his second year in Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, it would have been nice.
His second year.
Would have been nice.
He's an all-pro. I think this is trying to correct that mistake. By the way, I applaud Howie for doing that.
And look,
because sometimes we all make mistakes.
Yep.
How we correct them is how we're known. How we correct them
and
is
he
how
has
we're...
corrected a few times.
He has absolutely
he corrected
done
wide
it.
receiver, right?
Correct.
By trading up for Devontae Smith and then also acquiring A.J. Brown. This was after the Jalen Reagor and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside debacle.
I think he's completely, and a lot of people will disagree with this, I think he is totally self-aware.
I think he is.
And I think he says...
I don't think anybody could disagree at this point.
They shouldn't.
I don't think anybody can disagree at this point. Look, there were people that wanted Howie Roseman fired. Hey, hand up. That was me. I don't think there are people that are still questioning Howie Roseman at this point. It's fair to question, hey, should they have signed Saquon Barkley?
You can question moves.
I get that, but I don't think anybody's saying, oh, Howie Roseman's not that good of a GM, or Howie Roseman. Let's play that Nick Wright clip one more time, Connor.
Oh, my gosh.
Nick Wright from Fox Sports. He believes that Howie Roseman drafts players because that's what the media tells you to do.
Their GM, Howie Roseman, and maybe this is smart, his draft mimics the consensus media big boards more than any other GM, which is why every year people are like, Howie did it again, because he's doing what the media big boards would have done. He even said in his press conference after the Jalix Hunt pick that I almost texted Daniel Jeremiah asking him to take him off his best available list because I didn't want someone else to draft him. I was like, Howie, I'm not sure if other GMs are really scouring Daniel Jeremiah, because here's what we don't do as much. Because I think he's a sharp GM, and I think trading back is smart, and I think getting extra draft picks are smart. But a lot of the picks that we have talked about, wow, this guy was the 9th player on everyone's board, and he went 30th. Those didn't work out. It's like Keely Ringo, Nakobe Dean. He got Nolan Smith at 30. Howie did it again. Anybody heard from him? Jordan Davis, they got him at 12. He's been okay. And so I don't know that he's as great as we all think the day after the draft when it comes to picking the players.
How can you say Oh, Keely Ringo. He was a 4th-round draft pick.
And in the case, have you heard from him?
And this is his second. That was
Nolan
his rookie
Smith,
year.
They already was exposed by some of our listeners, by the way, who jumped on this conversation earlier.
Okay.
They already exposed tweets from Nick Wright on game night.
Who liked Nolan Smith?
He was like, he's a Chiefs fan. And he says, I am irrationally excited right now that Nolan Smith is dropping down the board and is still available for the Chiefs to go get him.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, our listeners exposed it.
Oh, my. So he's Mr. Revisionist History.
Yes, he is revisionist. By the way,
the jury's not written out, and the book's not written for Nolan Smith yet.
And by the way, what we do know is Nick Wright and Show Prep are not, are not like good friends. I don't know if the producer handed him the shtick, because one of the things is that first of all, he's off on his evaluation point with Howie Roseman, is that it's way too early to be evaluating whether people
absolutely.
like that. But what he's saying is, like Jordan Davis, into November, 2 years in a row, the Eagles have been the number 1 rush defense in the country.
There's just been a fallout.
And he has been, the fallout is what needs to be worked on. I think that appears we all are of the belief it's conditioning.
Yes.
That it has to be. But what they have seen of Jordan Davis has been far from a disappointment. The disappointing thing is that it wasn't able to be sustained after Halloween either season.
I just love that he pointed out Keely Ringo, a 4th-round pick.
No, that's where you just say he's just reading names.
Who wasn't a starter last year because you had Darius Slay and James Bradbury.
He's mind. I'm telling you, the shows are those shows that FS1 puts out.
Oh, it's amazing.
Those shows, and I'm not counting Colin in this. The shows that they put on, for a lot of them, are mind-numbingly dumb. They really are. They're begging for the ESPN eyes, and they're not getting it.
Yep. So our Eagles conversation, we focused a lot more on the Sixers today because, look, today could be the end. Right? They could lose. If they lose tonight, the season is over. The series is over. The season's over. And a lot of things might be over. Tobias Harris's time here in Philadelphia is over.
You know it's over, right? It has to be over.
It has to be. I'm telling you, I'm not joking. If Daryl Morey signed Tobias Harris back, I might not watch next season. I might boycott.
You'd be incredibly surprised if he did, though.
I'd be incredibly angry.
No, I know you would, but you'd be surprised if he did. I don't think anybody thinks that's actually happening.
Dude.
Right? I know anything could happen, but
the free agent class is not good, my man.
Oh, no, it's terrible.
The free agent class is not good, and you know that Daryl Morey would spin it as, well, he's an 18-point-a-game guy. He's a veteran in this league. We got him at a cheaper deal. He's off the max contract. You can't use the money as an excuse anymore, blah, 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 blah.
So they're going to double down on spending money this offseason just to spend?
Well, you have to.
Yeah. I mean, you have to spend to a floor.
Right.
You got to spend to a certain
And look, they're with Joel Embiid, they're going to try to do whatever they can to win. Right? When Joel Embiid is here, Daryl Morey's job is to try to continue to build championship teams or build a championship contender.
And Daryl Morey also will have to say to himself, if this thing crashes and burns tonight in 5 games, and we're hoping it does not, every year that odometer goes up on Embiid, if you were ever thinking we can get something for him, you're getting less. Every single year you're getting less.
Well, that's why you bring in LeBron James and you try to make the most of what's remaining on Joel Embiid's contract. So here's what we got on the show today. And I know we have a bunch of texts coming in, so we'll get to the text line in a second. You can text the show or call in at 610-632-0975. A, are you watching tonight? I would imagine that the majority of Philadelphians are watching tonight. But I'm not surprised if like 20% say I'm not watching. B, if you are watching, how emotionally invested are you in tonight's game? Now, I want to bring up something that I heard during the midday show yesterday with Bob Cooney, and I meant to get to this after today's headlines, but we ran out of time. So Bob called out Connor because during one of the commercial breaks, Connor was complaining about the Sixers, and you were basically saying, like, what's the point of being room for this team? They do the same thing for me every single year. And you and Bob both had a similar answer. Well, that's fandom.
That is fandom.
I understand. I just can't blame Connor for feeling that way.
I can.
Why?
Because I can understand frustration. I can't understand checking out.
He's not checking out.
I'm not checking out.
If you're not emotionally invested, you're checking out.
I don't think that's the same at all.
I absolutely think it is.
If the Sixers lose tonight, Connor might not be as angry as I am, and I will actually be happy for you that you won't be as angry tonight.
Thank you.
Because he's not going to allow himself the potential disappointment, the potential outrage of Another missed rebound. The Knicks get a second chance point. They get a steal. It's a lazy pass by somebody on the Sixers, which we've seen multiple times in this series. I almost envy you, Connor.
It's not that I don't want the team to win. It's that I know better than to believe that they're going to.
Well, then the thing is, though, but you keep on lapping up every year that you're believing the Sixers are turning it around, or they have a chance.
Okay,
so
I'm changing my mind.
Why don't you? Okay, so you finally reached the point where you finally are there.
But in this series, they might have an incredible. Oh, LeBron James might come here next year, and then Connor's not back on like he's going to start watching again. I watched the Phillies a 10-year playoff drought. I watched almost every single night. I wish I didn't at times. I wish I gave myself a break from watching Tommy Joseph play first base.
We just look at fandom differently. I look at fandom as you are invested. You are invested whether they suck or you're invested whether they're great. Because when you're invested when they suck, it makes the moments when they're great so much more valuable. I do not respect fans who have the on, off again, on again relationship with the team.
Guess what?
I just don't, because I don't look at it the same.
You deserve better.
We do.
Andrew deserves
we absolutely
better,
deserve
and
better.
I deserve better, because you know where that's not fandom? That wasn't fandom for the past, 15 years in Boston. That wasn't fandom for, L.A. Lakers fans in the early 2000s. That wasn't fandom for New York Yankees fans in the early 2000s. But for some reason here, in a top 5 sports market in Philadelphia, that's fandom, because we always lose. We've always got to deal with, you should be invested in this losing, because that's the only way you get to win. You can win without being losers first.
We have had so much more winning here than the majority of other cities, and we did it last week. We did it last week.
What championship?
This city, as a sports fan, I don't have to. I see so much more winning.
I want a damn ring. I don't have a ring from the Sixers. I don't have a ring from the Flyers. I have one from the Eagles that I had to wait till I was 22 for.
But you're not going to build something that is actually built to win, are you?
Listen, do it. Then.
Okay.
Do it whatever way they want to.
Dude,
I'm not telling them to do it a specific way.
Do you think Toronto was upset? They're probably happy they won their ring.
I don't think they were. That is a anomaly championship, but it was still better.
But you know what that anomaly championship could be?
It feels good forever.
Could also be acquiring LeBron James, which could be an anomaly championship where it's an outlier. It's how many years is left on Joel Embiid's contract? I'll pull it up right now because I don't know.
What's it, 4? He has 2.
I'm sure.
I thought
4. Out after. He has more, but I think after 2.
I'm sure a lot of people don't want to see him play throughout his entire contract in Philadelphia. I would not be surprised if a lot of people say, oh, well, if he doesn't finish his contract here in Philadelphia, they won't lose tears over it. All right, so he's a player option after the 2026-27 season. So he is.
It's 3 years from now.
3 years from now. So you sign LeBron James to a 2-year deal. You have 2 years of Joel Embiid, LeBron James, and then maybe Joel, if it doesn't work out, he opts out. But at least I got 2 years of trying hard, like not harder, but you get what I'm saying. Like
it's like the Harden.
I have a play. You would rather have LeBron than Harden?
No, I would, but it's like when Harden came here, it was, well, now we got the guy. We got him another guy, and we have Maxey, and we have another guy.
Chance, and that's all I can ask for is better chances. Now, what do we have on the text line? With any of the conversations, emotionally invested tonight. I can't blame you, Connor. I'm not like I heard Bob talk about you. I've heard John talk about you, and the fan that your fellow fan that feels that way. I can't blame you. We have been beaten down over and over and over again by this team.
All of us have.
I'm locked in tonight. I'm gonna get angry if they lose. I'm gonna celebrate if they win. But I can't blame Connor for going in the game and going, let's see what happens.
Well, no, everybody's going into the game like that tonight, but not dispassionate. Like, you have to have passion for your Sixers.
Let me ask you this.
I'll read this text to you and see.
All right, here it is.
All right, read the text, and then I have a question. Go ahead.
This goes ahead and comes from Brian from New Jersey. I'll be watching tonight, but I'm more emotionally invested in I'll clean this up, bowel movement than I am with this team. It's not fun to watch the same results every year, and if the Sixers don't make it out of this round, it will be considered a setback on top of the disappointment they've had.
And that's accurate. Let me ask you this question, guys. Let's say roles reversed. The Sixers are the 2 seed, the Knicks are the 7 seed. We've already complained about the Knicks fans taking over the Wells Fargo Center. They're down 3-1, but it's game 5 is here in Philly. I bet you there's even more Knicks fans in tonight's game.
Oh, I think there'd be more. I think if there's a game 6, there is going to be more Knicks fans than were there on Sunday.
And that tells you how a lot of people are beat up by this team. I don't think it's because they've lost their fandom for the Sixers or they've lost their energy for the Sixers.
Do you believe well, look, I saw year after year of the Eagles getting kicked in the nuts.
But it's different. Like you said, you believe there's a different DNA.
Okay, that's what I'm saying is there is different. It doesn't have to be that way. Like I would never see. I'm never going to see the Link taken over by opposing fans.
But this is a different beast. Like at least those teams were going to the NFC Championship game, or they sucked. Right? It was one or the other.
I've never seen an important game where Citizens Bank Park has been taken over.
No, look, I thought it was horrible.
So I mean, there's a difference between the fans. As far as
but that
how
may
the fans
tell you
are.
where the people are at right now, and that's why I'm saying I don't think Connor's alone, and I don't blame Connor for feeling that way.
I do, and again,
this is a totally different situation.
You cannot blame Connor for it. I don't look at fans as a hop on, hop off thing. That's not how I look at it.
All right, let's go to cousin Ryan. What's up, Ryan? Hello.
What's up, Ryan?
Hey, boys, how you making out today?
We're just lovely.
Well, Connor, what I have to say to you is, this is Philadelphia. Take the black eye, put your big boy pants on, and come back fighting. It doesn't matter.
Ryan, I'm out of eyes to have blackened, okay? I'm out of eyes. Stop hitting me, Philadelphia.
It's Philadelphia. You got to take it, man.
God,
look,
you've had such a...
Jalen Record took it from a guy who caught babies out of a fire window saying he's got to catch the ball.
Better than Aguilar.
It just happened. Yeah, that's it, Aguilar. But, you got to take it, man. You love the sport. You just
you sign up and you say, kick me, and let me have another.
But again, it's not that Connor's not watching tonight.
No, but he's watching dispassionately. I don't care. Dispassionately means I don't care. That is his words. I don't care is the definition of watching something dispassionately. I will never not care about the Sixers, the Flyers, the Phillies, the Eagles. You cannot go, I care about my team. Oh, but next week, if they win, I'll care about them again. You either care or you don't. And you can care negatively. You can care crappily.
So do you care crappily, Connor?
Yeah, I do.
Then you're not dispassionately. Then I'm fine with you. I'm no problem. The whole issue I had with you was dispassionately.
Thanks for the call, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan. Was dispassionately. Is that because dispassionately means
I just yelled. Do I sound dispassionate to you?
No, that's what I'm saying.
My issue is, you know what, fans who think the way that you're thinking right now going into this game with hope, I think you're dumb. I think you're dumb to think the Sixers are going to give you anything other than crap in a box tonight. But you're going to open up that present and expect, despite the smell, that there's going to be something different in there.
I don't know what they're going to give me, but I would rather not. I would not do something if it caused me to have these kind of feelings. I would not be a Sixers fan. I would choose to do something else with my time. If I didn't, if it caused me, if
you
it caused
feel this way?
No, I don't know. I'm not. I told you. I'm anxious about tonight. What I'm anxious about is I don't want to do tomorrow's show. I know what's coming. I know it could be coming on tomorrow. It could come on Friday.
Yeah, so if they lose, you're going to feel the same pain that Connor is just currently feeling.
But he's
just feeling it a couple hours before you.
But I'm much more prepared for it because I've never bought in totally to the vision. So I'm not as bought in.
Connor's not buying in right now.
No, I bought in, and I'm selling all my stock.
He sold it, though.
I'm getting out before the dip.
I am there tonight saying there's no reason for me to think they can't win this game tonight.
So you're going to keep 1% of your stock just to say that you're a stockholder.
I'm not getting 1%. Not 1%. No. I think there's every reason to believe. It's a coin flip. Almost every game in this series. Every game in this series has been a coin flip.
I'm not letting you be my accountant.
All right, Dow and Jones. We got a break.
Ron Davis and the Davis CPA Group is my accountant.
All right, we continue the conversation and more on this LeBron situation. Bring him to Philadelphia. Is he looking at schools in Malvern? That was the rumor a couple of years ago.
He doesn't have to. Kids are older.
Dude, I need it. I need it to happen so bad. I need LeBron James in a Sixers uniform. And I'm not just saying, oh, radio guy wants LeBron. No, there's a legitimate possibility that he could opt out of his contract with the Lakers. And Philadelphia is a good landing spot.
And he'd choose here.
And, oh, by the way, he fits perfectly with this team. And that's not crazy talk. That's real. It's Kincade and Salciunas. We continue the conversation next right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic.
crossover and the key three coming up during the next segment. Crossover with Bob Cooney around 9:50 and the key three around 9:47. I want you to ask Connor the trivia question that you just asked me during the commercial break.
Connor, I knew that there were 4 wide receivers taken in the draft in 2020 before Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
We know Jalen Reagor's one of them.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of one of the other 3. Can you name the other 3?
Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, and who was the other? Is that the one you couldn't remember, the one that I haven't gotten?
You remember Jerry Jeudy, and I did not.
Yeah,
Jeudy was the one I had to go back and look up.
Who the hell was the other one?
This one was the first one I thought. Well, no, I said Ruggs and then this player and then Jeudy.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it's not.
Think cell phone.
CeeDee Lamb.
Oh.
No, I
forgot CeeDee Lamb was that draft.
Yeah.
I know. So I thought I forgot Jeudy was that draft.
Yeah.
But it's just a number comes up.
I banged it out.
That's because you're football guy.
I'm a football guy.
Yeah, there you go.
Remember CeeDee Lamb, the cell phone?
Yeah, I've seen the clip. I just didn't remember
the girl. He pulled it away.
Yes.
In my defense, that was during the pandemic, so I forget the time frame.
Is that what it is? Oh,
yeah, I'm going to blame it on the world shutting down.
All right, yeah, I got you. All right, so what we've been talking about is a lot about the Sixers game tonight, but not X's and O's. I want to know from you, are you going to be emotionally invested in this game? Also, LeBron James, after his game last night, in which the Lakers were eliminated by the Denver Nuggets, was asked if he was going to return to the Lakers. He didn't want to answer the question. Take a listen to what LeBron James said after the game last night.
Tonight, was there any thought at all that, this could have been your last game with the Lakers?
I'm not going to answer that. Appreciate it.
I think you're foolish if you do not want LeBron James. So let's continue these conversations. And I want to go to Zach in Collegeville here because he sides with Connor. Hello, Zach.
Hi, John. I've never disagreed with you so much than I do right now. For starters, how could you possibly judge someone else's fandom when you just said you didn't even buy into the Sixers this year?
No, I don't. No, to their championship chances.
So
wait a minute. Whoa. You're saying to me you have to be a blind fan? You think your team's going to win a championship every year? That's nuts.
Well, no, but you have to have passion, I guess, is what I'm saying.
I have the passion for the Sixers. I'm sitting here arguing with people that they can't get excited for a Game 5 of a playoff series.
I'm not hearing it, Johnny. Get mad.
They're going to lose. Because they're going to lose.
Zach, we don't know they're going to lose.
You're right. If they win, then they'll lose at home with half of the
see, Zach, you're just – listen, if you believe every year that a fan has to believe their team's going to win a championship, I think that's kooky town. Absolutely nuts.
And I think it's absolutely bonkers, bozo world, that you think you have to absolutely buy into the fact that, we're going to win tonight.
I didn't say you have to buy in. No, Zach, that's not what Zach, you're not listening. That's not what I said. I said that you can't watch a Sixers game, say you're a fan, and say you're dispassionate about it. That's what I said. I didn't say you have to buy in and think they're going to win tonight, but you can't watch a game. If you say you're a fan of a team, you can't say, I'm a fan of this team, but I'm watching dispassionately. That's ridiculous. It's exactly the opposite of being a fan.
If you're watching the game, you have passion.
Well, I have Connor answer Zach.
Right. Go ahead, Connor. Explain your stance tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching the game, but I'm not going in with any emotional investment into the result because I know what's coming.
Because Connor knows they're going to lose.
Most likely.
There's a strong chance, and thanks for the call,
There could be, Zach. Good job.
And if they lose in Madison Square Garden, and if it's how they lose.
Oh, no.
If
Not
it's
for
like
me.
Game 7 last year.
Oh, if it's Game 7 like that, then I got questions on Maxey and Embiid.
All right, can I ask you
need to see this tonight. I need to see Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah. Can I ask
Not
you
a
this?
baby anymore.
What if they come out and you could tell right away they ain't winning?
What do you mean? I mean, as far as you mean me?
I'm saying anybody.
Oh, I'm angry.
Are you allowed to
I'm angry.
watch dispassionately the next 3 quarters? You're basically watching the death of the Sixers season.
No, I think it'd be more as you're angry. That's passion.
Unless you reach apathy.
Well, the thing is, if tonight's game, there's a danger, and we talked about it early on in the show today, there's a danger that tonight, this game and the way it's played could push people into Connor territory of becoming dispassionate about it.
And that's what scares me.
And that scares me too.
Like, I know my tone today is, it almost sounds more Connor. I'm more you. I think know me.
On a daily basis on the Sixers, you are 100% more me than me. But today I'm just a little shocked by both of you, and it's just where I'm at.
You know what? It's for me. It's fear that there are going to be people like Connor, more people like Connor, after tonight if it doesn't go well.
Bob, that's one thing that Bob would always bring up is the ideas with a fandom is that you don't want to enter into apathy. Tonight could be the gateway drug to apathy for a lot of people.
Dude, think about what we've talked about so far. So season's over. You have one player under contract. You avoid the Paul Reed contract, thankfully. Tobias Harris is gone. We celebrate that. There will be more celebration about Tobias Harris no longer being on the Sixers and the future of the Sixers, okay? The players available in free agency, Paul George.
No.
Maybe LeBron if he decides to opt out. You could trade for Trae Young. You could trade for oft-injured Zach LaVine.
What could you trade for them?
Well, that's the thing. You don't even have much to trade for.
You'd have to sign and trade.
Sign and trade.
Right, I mean, and that's incredibly complicated.
And so it's not like
so this would be and then
this season could I don't even want to say it, dude.
We're not there yet.
This season could have been a last hurrah for all we know.
No, it could very well be because let's say tonight we get another gutless performance like we saw last year in Game 7 at Boston.
Yeah.
Absolutely gutless performance. Are you signing up and saying, everything's fine here, nothing to see here?
No, nobody's signing up for that.
No, even with Joel Embiid. Because he has come up small in big games, 16 turnovers in the last 2 games against the Atlanta Hawks in a series you should have dominated. And, yes, Ben Simmons was a major reason you lost.
Yeah.
But still, though, your best player didn't play his best. The Miami series the year after. Last year, what happened with Boston
against
Miami.
Miami.
It was, and I don't hold him responsible. But again, stepping up big. Last year was a disgrace.
It was.
Game 6 was a disgrace, and Game 7 was a disgrace.
But this is all my point.
Right.
Every year
this is why Connor's feeling this way, which is why I can't be angry at Connor. I think about the text from my buddy Joey yesterday, who was at all of these heartbreaking games that you're talking about. At some point, you just get beat up so much. The other thing about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you get hit and get back up. You might not get back up. Come on, bro. Yeah, but
I got to tell you,
Connor's not getting back up today.
Okay, I'm just going to say to you.
I feel like I'm Connor's lawyer today.
I think you are.
Thank you. My client rests.
I would just say to you that if it's a
objection,
I can't imagine that, like being a sports fan, that it would be like, man, I just can't take it anymore.
So tell me this, John.
Yes.
Give me something besides the fact that you live in Philadelphia and you care about this franchise historically, like you've been a fan.
Sure.
What have the Sixers given you to fight for?
Oh, they've given me the least of any team in the city.
They've given you nothing, dude.
No, they haven't. They absolutely have not.
So why are you fighting?
Because I am absolutely still invested and have been born into it, and I won't be able to.
Okay, so you feel that you're
forced to. I didn't cut it loose when I lived 750 miles from
I
you.
got you.
So, I mean,
but Connor's not cutting it loose. Like, nobody's jumping ship.
I never lost my passion. My passion, by the way, turned to disgust during the process.
Which is still passionate.
But it was passionate.
Yeah,
and I was not a supporter.
But this is where we're at. So I got a tweet from Dan King, who checked in earlier.
What's up, Dan?
Choosing optimism with the Sixers today. All right,
okay.
It's great. It's either they win and they're back in the series, or they lose and I likely never have to see Tobias Harris in a Sixers jersey again. Like, that's where we're at.
Oh, I know.
And that sucks.
I think, too, though, is that those who I have not bought into the Sixers plan for a while. Now, did I think this is a team that was this year going to be able to go to a conference finals? I absolutely thought they could.
You saw the path. It was right there in front of you. And then what happened?
No,
they decided to show a lack of effort in 2 of the 4 games in this series, and that's why you're down 3-1.
That is correct.
That's why you need to bring LeBron James. Let's go to Frank in South Jersey. What's up, Frank?
You got it, my man.
Yes.
Man, I'm with Salciunas this morning. Good morning, guys.
What are you up to, buddy?
Hey, listen, I'm excited about the Sixers tonight. You know, your team could get beat up. They cannot do what, you want them to do and expectation and all that stuff. But you still got to ride with your team. I don't care what's going on.
Yep. I got you. But I don't blame anybody.
You can't watch it dispassionately.
I don't feel
He's
bad.
Just telling you.
I don't.
Watch it dispassionate. Get up out of here with that. But the other thing, my main man, that I'm deep involved with right now is LeBron James. First time I knew he had no chance coming his way. He was going to do what he do in California. He was going to do what he do with all his off-the-court moves. But this time, man, look, you bring LeBron James, man, you definitely going to beat Boston. Even in that daggone finals, ain't nobody stopping him and Embiid. Get out here. Maxey play up the park. They going to beat Boston. They get into the championship, and then we see who we played in.
Damn right, Frank.
Wait a minute, though. You're saying to me Maxey's going to play up to par?
No. He's doing his thing like nobody else, man. Get out of here.
Okay, well, then I'm going to see tonight what kind of a player it's not LeBron, Maxey and Embiid are.
Yeah, but maybe LeBron gets more out of them. He brings professionalism, maturity, I don't know, GOAT-isms. Like LeBron James, you're not bringing 38-year-old Paul George. You're bringing 39-year-old LeBron James.
40. He'll be 40.
He'll be 40, and he's still playing like he's 30. Thanks for the call, Frank.
And and don't tell me the bubble. Honestly, what has been escalated out of the Lakers?
No, you're right. You're not wrong.
And I don't. And what is?
He never had Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey.
Is he bringing the little bottle of incredible health that's all of a sudden that Embiid's going to be healthy now?
But
I mean, you know what I mean? I get you.
My point is, they went 16-27 this year without Joel Embiid. They don't go 16-27 if they have LeBron James.
That is correct.
They're the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference because the Eastern Conference is that weak. Joel Embiid then plays in a game like Game 1 and Game 2 and doesn't have to try to do everything on a bum leg because LeBron James can carry some of the load. They cannot rely on anybody else. Like, Tobias Harris is unreliable.
Yes.
I am now putting in LeBron James, who you can say, hey, LeBron, we need you tonight to be the guy that runs this offense. And you know what? He'll do it. He did it again last night. He dropped 30. It's just the rest of his team sucks.
Here's where you guys are at. Andrew is pot committed to this current Sixers era because of how much he has invested that he wants to extend it. John, you're ready, if we're staying with the poker analogy, you're ready to fold and play the next hand.
Yes.
Because you don't think you have enough. And I'm sitting at the end of the table seeing 20 people with a lot more chips than you saying you're both losers. And that's why that I'm where I'm at.
You wouldn't take LeBron?
No, I would. I don't think, listen, this organization has issues that go deeper than that.
LeBron brings a different
you're
professionalism, maturity, everything.
I'm on your side with the LeBron thing, but ultimately, do I feel like this team in this era is going to run into one? No. The door's closed for me. The window's closed. Call it whatever. It's closed.
One thing the Lakers have learned is that LeBron James can infuse into other players. He cannot. They either have it or they don't.
Well, D'Angelo Russell might stink.
They either have the heart of a lion or they don't.
Yeah.
And we're going to find out tonight, by the way. Joel Embiid, critical spot. This is when MVPs would go out there and ball out. And Tyrese Maxey, if you're going to be a max player, tonight's the night when you go out and ball out.
They did it Game 3.
They did one game of this series.
Do they do it
they've been exceptional.
Again tonight when we're calling them into question? The Key 3, Kincade and Salciunas Key 3 coming your way next. The 3 best minutes from today's show, as well as the Bob Cooney crossover. Coming your way next right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
The insight on baseball you need to hear.
Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Been a spirited show about the Sixers and fandom and LeBron. Please sign here, LeBron.
It would be, look, too, it would be so much fun. And again, by the way, Jared Greenberg, my buddy Jared from NBA TV, he thinks I'm nuts.
Yes.
He agrees with you on that.
So
he also
me and Jared no ball.
But he also says, win a championship, can you tell me what Embiid's going to be healthy? Can you tell me Max
I'm not guaranteeing you a championship.
What they're going to be?
I'm guaranteeing you an Eastern Conference Finals appearance.
And
that's more than we've gotten in 23 years, man.
Yes, it would.
More than we've gotten in 23 years. All right, it's time now for the Kincade and Salciunas Key 3.
Now, the Kincade and Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
I want to start off by asking you, the Sixers fan, a question. Are you going to get sucked in tonight? Obviously, majority of Philadelphia fans, sports fans, I'm not saying Sixers fans, Philadelphians will be watching the Sixers game tonight, right? So I believe the majority of you will be watching the Sixers game tonight. I am not shocked or will not be shocked if there is a 10%, 20% Philadelphia community that doesn't even want to watch tonight because they don't want to go through the pain or they don't have faith in this team.
Well, they're not fans then. You're not a fan of the Sixers if you don't watch Game 5 tonight. You're not a fan. You don't call yourself a fan. Call yourself somebody who likes Philly sports but turns it on when you want to.
Okay, so
yeah,
maybe
a fan better be watching.
Maybe a casual Sixers fan might not watch tonight, but I will still call them a Sixers fan. They probably have Sixers gear in their house. They probably have the flag from 2001 on their car. Is this version of Howie Roseman the best or most trusted general manager or president of operations or executive in Philadelphia sports since 2000, since the turn of the century?
Pat Gillen.
That's the only other guy.
That's the only name that that's the only name that comes to mind. And the thing
is, my Wikipedia page. Pat Gillen. It's the only other name I.
But I got to tell you this: Dave Dombrowski's coming close.
Close
for me because of the fact that Dave Dombrowski has the resume of being a guy who consistently, no matter where he is hired, he leaves the place better than he found it.
The voice of your Philadelphia 76ers, Kate Scott.
The key is, out of everybody, who is the best player on both teams? In my opinion, it is Joel Embiid. So the Sixers have to do everything they can tonight, since they have built this team around him, to emphasize and utilize all of his strengths.
If the Sixers were to acquire LeBron James and your team next year is Joel Embiid, still on the max contract, Tyrese Maxey gets his max contract, you see however you work out LeBron James, and then you allow the veterans that want to try to play with LeBron or try to win a championship to come here in Philadelphia, you are a finals contender the second he puts on a Sixers uniform.
LeBron James isn't a gimmick. He's a hell of a player.
But you said it's a gimmick for the Sixers.
LeBron James is sitting at home now already before the Sixers could be tonight. If you don't have enough of a surrounding cast, LeBron James isn't carrying people anywhere right now.
Dude, he averaged 26, 8, and 7 this year.
You could give me all the stats you want. It didn't carry the Lakers anywhere.
The great Jeff McClain joins us.
How many years have there been starting white cornerback in the NFL?
Not many that I remember.
I think the Eagles, they're going to give him an opportunity, but I think they expect long-term, maybe even short-term, that he'll be a middle field player, which means that he could play safety, he could play in the slot, he could play down the box. I mean, he could do a lot of stuff. This kid's very versatile. And the comp that I kept hearing was Malcolm Jenkins.
There has been a roller coaster of emotions surrounding Eagles fans with Howie Roseman, but I think he might be the most trustworthy general manager or whatever title you want to give him since 2000 in Philadelphia, and that's crazy.
That is crazy. No, what you're saying is true.
Gillick is the only guy I thought of that could maybe rival that, but other than that, with all due respect to Ruben Amaro, it can't be Ruben Amaro Jr.
No, it's not Ruben Amaro Jr.
It can't be Ed Snyder and everybody that's a part of that Flyers regime, even though they were competitive, they never won anything. But I think Howie Roseman right now, and I don't think you can say no, is the most trustworthy executive in Philadelphia since 2000, since the turn of the century.
There shouldn't be an argument to that.
This team has provided you nothing but pain.
It has.
Not just this season, over the decade, right? This team has provided nothing but pain. There hasn't been much to celebrate. There's been individual performances to celebrate. There's been expectations to celebrate. There has been close series that makes you feel good about things moving forward, I guess, to celebrate. But there hasn't been a championship. There hasn't been the third round appearance. And mainly every single series loss has come with something that has pissed you off. Whether it's been effort, whether it's been injury, whether it's been drama surrounding specific players, there has not been much to celebrate. So what makes tonight any different for a lot of people? All right, that's the key three, the 3 best minutes from today's show. Now, before we get to our crossover, let's make him wait even longer because he's getting chippy in here. Connor Thomas has a special message that he wants to send out.
Calm down, Bob Cooney, and it's my mom's birthday today, so I just want to say happy birthday to my mom. I love you very much.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Connor's
birthday.
mom.
All right.
She's a wonderful lady.
Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning, boys. How are we?
So LeBron James,
Oh,
yeah,
in a
or nay?
heartbeat. In a heartbeat, yeah.
I don't
No
see.
question.
I don't see why some people.
Yeah, I didn't get that a
I'm
little bit
pointing
either.
to this man next to me.
Sports is all
without
about trying to
wanting-
give yourself the best chance to win, and
Thank
that's
you.
the best chance to win. The road is infinitely long.
And he also
So don't say kicking down the road because the road will go on forever. The road will go on with the Sixers. After Embiid, after we live, after our kids are living, it's going to be here forever. Try
Well, we
to get
don't
the
know.
championship
They
when
might.
you can.
They might move.
They might.
They could leave.
They
I mean,
could.
there wasn't a Philadelphia Athletics team, so they could.
He went for 30, 11, and 9 last night with 1 turnover.
Yeah.
4 steals. He's
And
still pretty good. I
he
like him.
Fits with this. He fits
Oh,
with
it'd be-
Embiid
it'd
and
be
Maxey.
so cool.
And
It'd be so
he
much
knows
fun.
how to play
It would
with.
be great.
He knows how to play with an
Fun
Embiid
to
like
watch.
because of
Yeah.
Anthony Davis. But
Gives you
now,
a better chance to win a championship.
but instead of D'Angelo Russell, it's Tyrese Maxey. Like they're a good basketball team.
I'm going
with
to see
LeBron
what I'm going to
James.
see from Maxey and Embiid tonight. What kind of
But I could
guts of
see.
a burglar they
let's
have.
say they both pee the bed tonight. LeBron might uplift them next year.
That's why I'm excited for what's his name, Joel Embiid, to play on the Olympics. I want him to be around the best players of the game. Well, how do you get better? What did you do when we were growing up? You always look for the best competition to play against. He's going to be around the best competition in the world for like a month. I think it's awesome.
Now I don't want him to play because of the health. But
What about his health?
I
don't
do
care about
get
the
what you're saying. You know.
It's been a problem with him his entire career.
It's been a problem when he practices or doesn't practice during the summer. I'd rather him be around the best guys in the world
Just
than not
the
be.
mental challenge of it.
Good way to look at it.
Absolutely.
All right, what do we
Amy
got
for
on the
doing 4
show?
hours today. Talk all Sixers. Here we go.
Thanks, Bobby.
See you, boys.
All right.
Bye.
Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partner, David Auto Group. Thank you, David Kelleher. Make a donation today to the American Association for Cancer Research. Do it at 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives. Win or lose tonight? Go on.
Lose.
103-101 win.
I think they lose. Connor?
I don't care. No, I'm kidding. You know what's funny? I think they win to make it hurt more.
I think they lose tonight.
Okay.
And
you're not rooting for that, but
no,
it is.
And I'm very worried about the conversations tomorrow. But let's hope they win, damn
Let's
it.
hope they win. And Schefter tomorrow.
Everybody have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bob Cooney coming your way next.